And we are live after a couple weeks hiatus, after my failed attempt to do a live broadcast every Tuesday here on this channel. I think I got about 2 months running on that, and I just no way I can organize that and keep that schedule. But I'm back today, and as you probably noticed with the write-up and the big orange or yellow banner on the screen, this is intended to be sort of a kickoff for a channel fundraiser. Life's getting a little bit hectic as the kids grow. Daughter's in braces, son's playing elite basketball, which costs a ton of money, a ton of travel. And just the amount of time that I'm able to dedicate to the channel is being jeopardized, I suppose you could say, with my need to probably do more work on the side to make sure we can get through month to month. Not saying I'm in abject poverty, but I thought this would be a good chance to throw out a request for funds for those that can afford to donate to the channel. And I've been doing this here for over 3 years now, and I just thought I'd show you my my catalog as it grows. We're sitting at 275 videos right now, and if I go back to the beginning, so I think I started in March of 2002. A lot of people haven't really gone back to the beginning of my work, and my videos, as everyone knows who knows my work, aren't the most polished. It's really just me and a screen capture talking over a slideshow. Although I wasn't, I learned a few things about sound, I suppose, over time. So some of these old ones, sometimes the music comes in a bit loud or whatever it might be. But I thought I'd show you some of them because I got going right away on the towns. You can see here Duluth. It was interesting. I'll actually walk you through my journey at the beginning of my YouTube channel. It wasn't until this William A. Clark video was made that all of a sudden I start seeing the views go crazy compared to what else I had. The other ones were only 10 views, 20 views, whatever it might be, 100 views. And then this one, I started watching the views on it, and it just shot up over 10,000 in like a couple days time. And then I got all excited about being on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Every video I make, it's just going to grow like crazy. And then Duluth happens 2 videos later. Same thing happens there. And then all of a sudden you go back to where you were before that happens. And I feel like actually this is a YouTube tactic. And that's just all speculation, like everything else I do in the channel. But I feel like YouTube has a way to sort of lure you in to content creation, and I think that's maybe what happened early on in the video. And then you set your expectations really high, and all of a sudden then you get frustrated. So in some ways, it's like being a gambler, I guess you could say. There's some ups and downs involved with it. And then once I got past 1,000 subscribers, I had the decision to make whether or not I should monetize my content. And I had never monetized my content here on this channel 3 years in a row. I thought about it a few times. What I'm worried about is I don't want anything to change. I don't want YouTube to go back into my catalog and start saying you can't have this video, you can't have this video, for whatever reason it might be. Whether or not the restriction on content changes as you monetize. So I didn't want to risk that. Plus, I just don't think there's any money in it to begin with. I'm up over 30,000 subs right now, and I'm sure if I was monetized, I'd be making $20-30 a month off the channel itself, probably. I'm going to take a look at the chat here. I see Frankie, one of my moderators. Hello, Frankie. Of course, anyone who wants to join me for a conversation is welcome to do so. And I kept that link at the top of the chat here. I wanted to address this comment right away. Mega Triumph 1 says April 15th is tax day. 31st is property tax day. Curious day to choose. Is that an American thing? It must be. I wasn't aware of those deadlines. I'm in Canada, so not quite the same. It's similar, but a little different there. I see Kathy. Kathy's always there. Always appreciate the support, Kathy, here on the channel. Just going to roll through. Old World, Michigan. I see you there. And I think I see Stephanie Fox, who has joined me in other broadcasts. I'll just show you where you can find her in my catalog here. Now, her and I have done a few things over on my Rumble channel that didn't make it onto YouTube. So definitely check that out as well. If you hear any noise in the background, it's the I think it's the dog and the cat having words. All right. So if you're wondering where Steph is, and I'll be pulling Steph here in just a second. I think she joins me on this one here, Tuesday Night Live open mic, streamed about a month ago. And I always appreciate Stephanie's insights, and asked her if she would join me here on this live fundraiser. Before I bring her in, I'll just show you quickly, and the links to these are in the description. So if you're thinking you're able to contribute at all to the channel and the thousands and thousands of hours I've done to put these videos together, these are all the ways that you can support me. If you've bought my books before, I appreciate it. And if you haven't bought these books, I definitely recommend getting these. They make a good coffee table book. It's 101 Demolished Buildings in Old World North America. Two copies of that, first and second volume. And I'm working on a third volume, which we'll get into as well. But the pictures in that one will blow people's minds. Actually, I'll show you here. I've got it open. These are the type of things you're going to see in those books if you're interested and don't have them yet. Just muting out my coughs here. Sorry about that. I did quit smoking about a month and a half ago as well, so don't cough as much as I used to. But this is what you're likely to see. You'll get a short write-up, and then you'll get a visual of these stunning architectural beauties here in North America that no longer stand. And let me hop back over to other ways to support me. I have a PayPal. If you're looking to donate, if you can go through PayPal, that's probably the best way. There's no Venmo up here in Canada. I was looking into that as well, but it's not a thing up here yet, or not available. So unfortunately, we don't have that option. Although I think it's just like a PayPal alternative or something like that. I don't really know. Buy Me Coffee, I just started that one up too. So if you want to go that route, you can as well. I have a merch store, but I don't make it very much off of those purchases. The spread shop seems to take the lion's share of whatever you buy on there. And I do have another book, Matrix Reloaded, yet again. I did that with John and Melissa Reiser. You'll find John in a couple of my chats with other explorers. Or you could e-transfer. I think that would work to the email address. The link's in the description. I don't like asking for money. I don't. It's an awkward feeling. Some people are shameless about it, which is fine. But it's not something I'm comfortable with. But if, like I said, if you're able to donate and you enjoy this content and have been enjoying it for some time, then certainly would appreciate a contribution that will go to making life around the household, the Old World Exploration household, a little bit easier these days. I'm just going to check the chat again. Thank you, Frankie, for throwing these links in the chat if anyone's interested. We're getting right into the reset talk. I love it. I love it. Right? How often do they perform these resets? Oh, I had Steph in there, and I think she must have popped out. So, Steph, if you're listening and you want to hop in, you're certainly welcome to. Frankie's on top of the links. I'll just show you a couple options too on my YouTube channel before I get into some presentations. So on this section, on my playlist section, I have put together groups of videos that I think are sort of similar. You can see here, I think this one, the Old World Exploration Favorites, is the one, if you have the Flat Earth Dave's map, app, sorry. He does have my channel linked on there, and I think this is the playlist that it'll jump over to. So that's an option there as well. I had all these ideas along the way. I was going to do a whole bunch of courthouse videos and all that kind of stuff. But as you go through the research, certain buildings will grab your attention, and you have to sort of go in that direction. Let me put a little background music on and get a little atmosphere here. So I'm just going to hop over to my Media assets. I haven't done this in a while in a live either. See if I can get a little bit of mood music in the background. Try that. Just turning that down a bit. Hopefully you guys can still hear it. Oh, I mean, Watchman says we have the muffled mic, really? Oh man, it shouldn't be muffled. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe maybe the kids have knocked it over a few too many times. It's taken a few beatings that I'm not aware of. Did I see Mark in the chat there as well? Yeah, there he is. Another one of my moderators, good friend of mine, Mark, or our Melted Reality. Frankie's over at New West Reset, by the way. And appreciate you guys being in here. How can you guys hear the music in the background right now? Just curious. If not, I'll turn it up a little bit. I'll wait for a comment confirmation on that. Anybody? Music? No music. Okay. I'll try and turn that up. How about now? I'm doing our sound check in real time. Okay, maybe I'll kill the music then. I see you there, Steph. I'll bring you in here in a sec. I'll put the music on a bit lower. We'll see how that goes. I'm also using Chrome as the browser. I usually use Firefox. If you're using StreamYard, guys, you can't share videos with audio through Firefox. You have to use a Chrome browser, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. I'm going to bring a couple friends in to help me along the way. I got Steph. You ready, Steph? 3, 2, 1, boom.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
But I don't know if I should be on the phone. I've got.
You're coming in loud, that's for sure. You're coming in pretty loud. I don't know. You can turn it down or whatever you want. No worries. No formalities.
What about now? I think I should do it on the iPad. It's better.
Yeah. Hop back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the other devices.
Okay. Yep. Excuse me. Oh, it looks like Mark's in there. I think let's get Mark in here. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you
say again? Say again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha now. Can you hear the music?
Yeah. Yeah.
Watchman's. So, what do you think of this? Does that sound accurate? It seems like the music is in front of in your voice and your back. What do you think? Does it sound? Should I kill the music? You make the decision, Mark. You're the stick figure guy. You know your stuff.
Is it reverbing?
No, you sound fine. To me, anyway.
Okay, it's just on my end. It was, I think it's gone now, actually. Okay.
Yeah, you sound good. Can you hear the music, Mark? Just curious.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's reverbing on my
end. Okay. No worries.
Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah. All right, there's Steph. I'm going to just pull Steph in here, Mark.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, Steph, you're back.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, perfect. Smooth. Okay. How are you doing?
Good.
Well, thanks for joining me on tax day. You should have given me the heads up on that, being American.
You know, here's the thing. It's kind of like when the kids tell you that they can't do something on a day because they've got a test. You should be done with your taxes. It's the day you turn them in.
It's cramming day. Yeah.
Right. So they're cramming if they haven't got them done yet. And the property taxes, that depends on where you live. It's all different everywhere.
I figured, yeah, because here I think we have a deadline of July or something like that for our property.
Mine already went in. They reamed me. So, I pay property tax to the county and to the city.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they double dip. It seems completely unfair.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
But I want to figure out how we can use I've been working on this spreadsheet.
Oh yeah.
And if somebody had the smarts to figure out how to put it on the channel so that you could
send it to me if you can email it to me or something like that.
Yeah, you've got 96 over 96 full exploration, 96 different cities.
Oh yeah, you were looking at going through the videos. That's right. Yeah,
and so I was trying to get them in some order, mainly because I wanted to look back and see make comparisons with some of the other creators.
You know what I want to do is I want to find a way to get my files to a shareable location for each video, like the files that I used for each video, and have a place that people can go and just grab that group of photos and pictures.
Right. Well,
I'm sure there's like a Google thing you can do that.
My interest in helping you get some money is because you make some of the best content out there. I know that a lot of
people shucks
in the chat would agree with me, because I watch a lot of different creators. So but your stuff is very it's predictably good. It's concise. You don't say anything weird.
Are you sure?
No, and you know, and you got the good sense of humor and everything like that. But you know, I'm a word nerd. I can't stand it when people use grammar incorrectly.
Yeah. No, I remember I talked to you about doing a fundraiser, and I don't like the idea of it. Everyone's gonna call me a shill now.
No, I hate asking for money as well. I'm really bad when it comes to my own thing, but I'm really good at asking for money for other people. And I can't help but think that out of your 30,000 people, if 20,000 people gave you $1, just think how much you'd have to work with.
Yeah, well, I don't think 30,000 people even know I'm releasing videos anymore. It's pretty funny to watch that curve. I've talked to you about it before. Watch the number of view count curve. So I don't think YouTube's been pushing my videos into any sort of algorithm now for a couple months, since January.
It is weird, but I have observed that not only are they, because like I'll put on the notifications and then they go off.
Yeah.
And so there does seem to be a concerted effort to make sure we don't see this content, but at the same time, they are, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're pushing out all kinds of bogus narrative old world crap.
You know, that's another thing, is I haven't really been watching too much. No offense.
Well, I can't help but notice it,
but
because it makes me feel like we're really over the target. It's like, they're firing back like hardcore. And even stupid things like, I know you don't have Facebook, but like on Facebook, these little things will pop up and it's just bogus history. You know, you got some lame AI picture of a person from the 1800s with some lame historical story behind it, somebody you've never heard of and your mom's never heard of.
So are they trying to make it look stupid, do you think?
I think they're trying to just keep it going, keep what we're supposed to be thinking about, what went on in the past, keep that going. And I've even seen some I don't know if they were movies, but it's kind of that thing where once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so everywhere.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Why
I'm not surprised.
Our throats.
Say that again?
Why are they cramming this down our throats? It's like,
yeah. You're seeing it everywhere.
What?
And if you get like huge like lunch break, right? And all of a sudden he'll be on the late night talk shows soon enough.
Well, who knows? Yeah, maybe. But well,
I'm still pissed because he never talked to me. I sponsored his channel for like 6 months, and I asked him in the chat and Patreon's like, "Hey man, let's have a conversation" or whatever. Didn't even respond.
I know he got really big really fast, and I must say I because I always put his name in all the comment sections. I watch from back when he had no subscribers. You know, I saw his very first video.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is so sad.
He's in his car, right?
He's in his car.
On his lunch break.
He wants to quit his job. He's like, and then little by little he got into a rhythm, and he became wildly popular. But
don't get me wrong too. I like his videos. It's just just a little choke that didn't want to have a chat. Like you know me, I've reached out to a lot of these content creators in this community. Most people have reached out back. I've developed a relationship with Michelle Gibson, Mark over our Melted Reality, Kairos. John Levi I have chatted, but not on camera. I still love to have that conversation, but I respect his privacy as well, and respect his major contribution to this community as well. So.
Well, that's another thing that I try to do is if I see somebody good, that they seem like they are open-minded and maybe have questioned things, or they say something like Tartaria or an old world or whatever, and you go, ooh, they're already onto that. And they've got a, sizable, like there was a guy I was listening to the other day and they shut his channel down. So I hadn't seen or heard from the guy in a while.
Really?
And,
interesting.
But now he's got a new channel, and I was listening to him. He's got a health thing and a whole vitamin thing. It's not his. Is
that you Cultivate Elevate? Is that who you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
This is a different one. This guy is his YouTube channel, I think, is called Shane Vibes.
Oh, Shane Y, Shaney. I know
the Y. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know who that guy is?
I follow him on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, me too. And he did have he was connecting consciousness or something like that, but that's gone.
Okay.
And so now but he's he promotes all the chalk stuff, which I've purchased. It's good. There's some good products.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
But I was thinking he'd be a great guy because it's the cross pollination. These people are wanting information about he talks about all kinds of stuff. The thing I listened to the other day, he was talking about bees and beekeeping. He sounds like a Canadian to me. I don't know if he is.
That's racist stuff.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm not going racist. I messaged him that he should talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his channel's little, his YouTube channel, but I don't know if it's because he's rebuilding, but he's got like, or maybe it's not little, maybe it's big. I actually.
Yeah. Well, to me, it doesn't seem to matter. Like I was getting more traction 10,000 subscribers ago than I'm getting now. So I don't know how all that stuff works, but luckily I didn't put all my eggs in one basket and quit my day job for YouTube. But it does take a lot of time.
That probably would have been.
I wasn't about to do that, that's for sure. But it does take a lot of time, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that people need to pay for what we buy these stupid channels on, I have subscriptions on Roku and $5.99 a month here and $8.99 a month there, and I just think if you could get a following to start giving you even something as stupid as $5 a month, and a chunk of people did that, that would help.
It would help for sure. Yeah,
that would help to give you the time to do the work that we all enjoy. I mean, I know I look forward to whatever you're going to put out on a Friday, and I think
Buy Me a Coffee has that option. That Buy Me a Coffee link I have in the description has a monthly option. That might work.
Yeah, I think that's what we should encourage people to do. Every video, I think you do have to be a little bit more shameless in the asking, because and people do those things where it's a call in and they have the, a soup.
Yeah, but I can't do that unless I am monetized, though. That's the thing. Right?
Oh.
So that's why I was sort of tossing it around, but I'm just gonna leave it for now.
I don't understand the whole monetization thing because I have videos on my studio channel, and there's commercials on, but I didn't put them there.
Yeah, that's YouTube. Here's that same question. Why isn't there a money option for the chat? Because I'm not monetized, so I don't have that option built into my channel. All of my content has been free for 3 years, so that's why I'm just asking for a one-shot deal if anyone wants to contribute. Right.
Now you've made it clear. The link's in the description. There you go.
Yeah, the links are in the description. Frankie's pumping a bunch of stuff in there. He's my salesman today. I'm looking at look at this guy.
So I have you going on multiple devices, and I still don't see. I was gonna do it so I could show everybody. Lead the way.
I want to address the chat too. I saw a few comments a little higher up, and maybe people thought we were calling everyone out as shills, and that's certainly not the case. I'm not saying lunch break's a shill. I'm not saying anyone is a complete fake at all. Everyone's got a different approach and a different reason for what they're doing. So that's not what's going on here. The attack dogs aren't out. We're not pointing fingers saying who's real, who's not. I certainly would not be in any position to do that. So just want to make that clear for everyone out there. Let's not get too fussy about those things. Take what you want from anyone's content, and you can drop what you don't like, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think you watch what resonates with you, and if you, because I've watched things for a really long time, and then gotten tired of it. But
yeah, me too. You fall out. You fall in and you fall out, and then you fall back in.
Credit. I haven't gotten tired of your content yet, which is.
Oh, you will.
I want to say this. I'm judgy wudgy, and it's I think that what you do is compelling.
Hey, Stephanie, we got a question here. Who's the female that is talking?
Oh, just some nobody.
That's my friend Stephanie Fox. She's come on a few times in some of the live conversations. We have a lot of private conversations about the old world and other things, and I would consider Steph a good friend.
I'm just a voice teacher in Tennessee.
Yeah, you teach vocals, right? Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
And I support the work of all the channels that I have been watching you though almost since you first started. I think I went back through and I have watched every single one of your videos.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. What do you know? I guess I'm a big fan.
No, I appreciate it.
Hi, Wiley. Oh my gosh, Wiley did the best video. It's called Sticks and Guns and I've forgotten it because I can never remember names of things.
Wiley's got a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and he and his son did a really cool music video with a song he apparently made up. Sticks and Knives and Guns, something like that. It's awesome. It is epic. I loved it.
Interesting.
I recommend everybody check it out. See there now.
Knife gun stick.
Knife gun stick. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Is it old world related?
No, they're exploring though. They are looking at melted stuff. He's he does, but he's just out with his boy, and there's a little bit of dancing in it. There's some kind of quasi rapping. Very good.
Wiley, should I put it on, Wiley? Should I hunt it down and put it on? I'll get your permission first.
Yeah,
oh wait. I'll show.
Kathy
one in the
says
meantime.
it's awesome too. So if Kathy says so and I say so, that's enough.
Yeah. I'll hunt it down over on my other screen so everyone can see.
Yeah, he says sure. It's it's not very long, but I was like, I could probably listen to this a few times.
Well, this will be the test because on the Firefox browser, I was never able to share a sound.
Oh yeah,
so
video,
supposedly
right?
Google Chrome. Yeah. So I'm going to try this now. I might need a link if this doesn't work. Oh no, we're good. Okay, I'm going to kill the background music. And we're going to go back to comments. And we're going to try Wiley's video. I think we're going to have to stay muted while it plays. Stuff. Okay. All right, let's try Wiley's video. Let me know if you guys can hear sound.
You knew too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scully. Scully from the X-Files.
Can you guys hear this?
Meltology.
Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick.
Meltology. Ooh, more meltology. What's this doing here? What is this? What is this doing here? This.
2 horses and a mule. 2 horses and a mule. 2 horses and a mule. When I go hiking, 2 horses and a mule. 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 When I go hiking, 2 horses and a mule.
Meltology. 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 Where's the view, son? Meltology.
Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick.
Ducks are sus. Geese are geese. Ba-di-da-di-da-di. Ducks are sus. Geese are geese. Ba-di-da-di-da-di. Ducks are sus. Oh. It said there's something up there. We gotta investigate. But don't molestigate.
There's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. No trespassing, but there's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. No trespassing, but there's no fence.
Getting caught in the rain. What is this? Look at this. Somebody's front porch right here. What is this? Who put this here?
Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick.
Get a little taste? Yeah. Get a little tasty taste? Yeah. Look at the storm coming to chase us out. We're finding truth nuggets. Here comes the rain to wash us away. What's that?
2 horses and a mule. 2 horses and a mule. 2 horses and a mule. When I go hiking, 2 horses and a mule. 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 When I go hiking, 2 horses and a mule.
that doing there?
Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. There's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. No trespassing, but there's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. There's no fence. No trespassing, but there's no fence. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. Knife, gun, stick. When we go hiking, got our knife, gun, stick.
Gotta say, I'm a little ashamed I wasn't subbed already. I've seen Wiley around too in the chats. Apologies, Wiley. Should have known about that.
Yeah, he did. He does great little boots on the ground from out in the western part of the world.
Well, it makes me think, what the hell actually happened here? What the hell happened here? You know?
Yeah, that's he. I think he's in Montana. I don't.
Yeah, which will they'll say all that was like millions of years old. Everything that we were seeing there.
Yeah, of course.
And for those people that are more on the architecture end of things, so maybe haven't delved into the Meltology end of things, there's a whole other world there. There's all sorts of evidence of cataclysm everywhere we look, really. See if I can bring up a file I have. Mark, are you there?
I think so.
Yes, you are. What a handsome devil.
Oh, come on now. I have to go back to this.
Mark's from Our Melted Reality, guys. I'm sure everyone here knows of Mark's channel. Does some amazing boots on the ground research. Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, and I'm mainly here to just, your work is just phenomenal, and having a family, we have a lot in common as far as that's concerned, as you know, and it takes a lot to do this. It takes a lot as far as time, energy, and everything trying to get this out, and really do appreciate it, and your work. It's just phenomenal. The way you present it and everything. And so anybody out there has got a little Canadian dollar, just send it to old Chris, please.
The Canadian dollar is little, by the way. Compared to the American dollar, it is little.
Is it really? Are we low compared to you now?
No, the other way around.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, not, is it? Mm-hmm. I thought the Canadian was a little bit more, like it was a little over $1 American for.
No, it's about $1.40 Canadian for $1 American.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So it's It's been, I mean, my whole life it's been lower. I don't think it's ever been on par, maybe briefly. But maybe we'll have the same currency someday.
When
Imagine
you're a
that.
state.
People don't like that talk. People don't. Yeah.
I just laugh at everything. I mean, come on, Fox Video had Katy Perry going to space the other day. I think
Yeah.
good laugh.
Yeah. You know what? I used to kind of be into that fluttered thing, but since I watched that,
I know.
we're on a globe, 100%. 100% globe. After Katy Perry went into space, that's it for me. So I switched over to a Meltology file because that was pretty inspiring, that video from Wiley.
Where is that?
Yeah, Wiley. Oh, this one here? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, this is, I'm sure Mark probably knows. Petra, Jordan?
Yeah, it looks Petra-ish, yeah.
Petrified. Petra melted. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Meltology. Let's just assume there's people in the chat or watching or on the replay don't know what the hell we're talking about when we talk about Meltology. Mark, do you want to do you have a few words to say on what we're looking at? Part of that.
Well, the whole scope of it, I guess. Everybody has a different opinion, I guess. But as far as being on a circuit board, some kind of a cataclysm happened, possibly. Well, it's definitely some kind of cataclysm happened, but how many times, everybody's got their opinion about that. But just as far as some kind of intense electrical heat happened at some point, and it seems not that long ago, and it changed the form of the bricks, stone, outer covering structure of these massive buildings all across the realm. There's just so much evidence by so many people now, just around them, and how the bricks have changed into rock or even stone and stuff. That's really the gist of it for me.
So something happened here, and we have not been told anything in our history or in our upbringing or in our schools about the possibility of there being some major cataclysm like this. It has been completely obscured from our reality, and there has to be a reason for that, right? That's kind of how I look at it.
And what you do, Chris, is just discredit basically all the narratives, especially going back to all the 1800s and stuff of the buildings being built with the means and the horses and carts and all that jazz, and then it feeds into, okay, what happened to these buildings actually, and all this BS that they're telling us through our indoctrinated school system. It's just hogwash, and they've hidden it basically in plain sight, and we were so indoctrinated and blind, we really couldn't see it until recently, really.
Yeah, until we had this medium, really, like an ability to communicate at long distances. Because how many like minds do you have in your general vicinity, for one? And how would you ever know you were like-minded? You know, if you'd have to spark up a conversation and broach this subject, which you're not likely to do. So these kind of things stay on the periphery. So that I think this medium has allowed us to open up the floodgates on this field of research. That's why it's so new. And what's crazy is the evidence is everywhere. Like, did Wiley say where he is? Somewhere in the west.
Montana, I think.
Montana.
Yes.
Not far. That's not too far from me, but like that's crazy. You're in the middle of the plains of Montana. I was just watching a TV series on I think it's 1923. It's like a Yellowstone spinoff.
Yeah, I watched that.
And they're in 1923, and there's one 1883 maybe or whatever as well. I think I mentioned this to you, Steph. It's hilarious. First of all, they got the narrative right. So the Indian Plains, the cowboys really rough around the edges. There's nothing there but log shacks and teepees. And then I could do my research. The same day I'm doing my research, I'm coming across courthouses built in the same decade in the same area, stone courthouses.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
It is.
But that's the depiction. So they're reaffirming the illusion, right? The Hollywood mind control machine reaffirms this illusion for us, if you choose to stay in those bounds, I think. I should go back. So the one I just looked at, I never noticed before. Where did it go? Oh, it's gone now. That Petra one, I actually saw bricks for the first time. I've seen that photo many times, and this is the first time I saw what I might consider to be bricks. There it is. Here, let me just show you guys. You can kind of make it out red brick. What do you think? I mean, it's hard to tell, but I never noticed that before on these. And you got that red coloring in there as well, and this as opposed to the orange-ishness that you see out here. Very interesting. Yeah. Clearly melted. You're not going to tell me that they carved this and then they just stopped there and the rock kept protruding out.
Right.
And they sort of half-assed carved this, but not really, and smoothed it over. It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do they have scaffolding that high back then? Right. And going up to carve that, it's just it's insane.
It makes as much sense as Katy Perry.
Totally. It's the same crap. It's the same crap. Yeah, that's really. I did a video on this one too because I wanted to figure out the official historical narrative on this region. Apparently, it was the Nabateans that were 1,000 years ago or so, and they were really good. They were cave dwellers, and they had aquifers in the desert. These are all connected to aquifers. Isn't that interesting? Connected to a water system, and they carved all these out apparently and lived in the rocks of the desert of the region. Fiction, right? Everything reads like fiction after you get into this stuff, to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this was one of my favorites too. This was in Italy, northern Italy. I don't have it tagged here, but there's a lake in northern Italy, and there's sort of on a peninsula, and then you have this that sort of looks like it just didn't get to the state that everything around it got to. You know.
Yeah, we're just going to cover nature with bricks and rocks and stuff, right? It's totally logical.
Yeah, it makes total sense, right? For what purpose, right?
In Arizona, they make the kids all go up to visit the Hohokam in northern Arizona, and I remember going and being fascinated by the cliff dwellings, and at the time, it was a head scratcher even then, and I wasn't turned on to any of this. I don't know if Mark has looked at any. I'm sure he has looked at any of that stuff out in.
What do you think? What do you think of the petroglyphs out there too? Do they have petroglyphs?
They
usually have scratchings on rocks, right? Like it looks like a child scratched in a horse.
I'm trying to remember if the Hohokam stuff had any of that. There are petroglyphs. There are definitely petroglyphs, in and around that desert area. But the specifically those cliff dwellings, they just look. I don't know if it's from a different period of cataclysm. They're not as detailed as these.
Yeah. So, am I using the right term? Petroglyphs are like paintings and pictures, right?
It's like the weird kid cows and stuff.
So I'm going to come right out now and say that is a complete cover-up operation, as far as I'm concerned. Petroglyphs. Yeah. And actually, when it began, I think it was in France. It was actually common knowledge in academic circles that it was a fraud. Apparently, the old stories of like, hey, if you go into this cave, discover these paintings, and the paintings magically disintegrate and you can't go in there anymore and look at them because the air is exposing.
Oh yeah.
That story. That should tell you all you need to know about the authenticity of these things. I think it's a part of the false historical timeline narrative that they've been trying to overlay in this reality. I don't buy it for a second.
Well, Mark's done a lot of stuff in caves. Do they have it now in the caves that they opened up in Arizona? Suddenly they did the same thing. Oh, now that they're open to the public, they're going to start disintegrating. I don't know why. They're going to become oxidized or something and go away.
So you can't really go look at them.
Yeah, is that a thing here or in Alabama?
Yeah, a lot of the thing in Alabama too is for bat conversation. What is it? animals. They try to protect animals and bats and stuff, and they put doors and iron bars because they say that that's where the bats are congregating and stuff. And but I mean, I see bats all the time flying around everywhere. But
they don't want you. They don't want you messing with their habitat. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's in a ton of mines and stuff. They don't let you go in a lot of mines because it's not dangerous. It's because that's where the bats live. And they have other animals too, like that. But yeah, they tell you not to touch anything, even if you're in these caves and stuff. And it's totally ridiculous. So I mean, they're saying that the oil of your skin it stops creating these formations and stuff. And
Yeah.
It's really mind blowing. And they have the same script everywhere you go as far as if there's a tour guide or something, and they're telling you not to do this and that, and it's all the same everywhere. But they just don't want you to get close to it. That's all, and really figure out kind of what this stuff is. But
what do you think of this comment here? I've had it up for a bit now. If Meltology is not a psyop, so haha obviously thinks Meltology is a psyop. What is the mud flood? What's your take on that, Mark?
I think it's intermingled. Okay. Mud. Okay. So the cataclysm, the meltdown. So you have the brick buildings, huge brick buildings melted down. You have it involved a flood of water because water system flowed through every building. We can see that in all the old world pictures and stuff, and just all kind of old pictures of huge buildings and the water flowing through them. So if you have this meltdown and you had all this water, and so the changed state of matter of all these buildings, and then plus the water, and you could even have salt water with it and everything, and then it creates mud and covers everything. And then of course there could have been some other stuff beyond that, flooding, once everything has just melted down. But it's intermingled, but I think it's like a confusion a little bit when people don't think as far as the melted buildings, but they're just saying mud flood and it covered everything. But where did all the mud come from in the first place?
Exactly.
So it's just a intermingled thing with each other was what I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking massive cataclysm beyond our comprehension.
Right.
We can't wrap our heads around what happened here. Look at the after effects. Like, this was clearly a very detailed structure. You can see there's remnants of it here, and you can also see remnants of maybe a mud flood. Maybe the debris settled. It looks like it's been sort of packed in the way that it sits here. Something catastrophic happened to this. You cannot tell me that this was just due to 2,000 years of wind erosion in the desert.
No.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. No.
So, yeah,
that's pure indoctrination right there. The wind and weather and stuff just like that picture right there. I mean, that stuff is everywhere. It's all around me. It's all around y'all. And they give different years, and some will be just a couple hundred. Some will be thousands. It's all the same.
Yeah. Here's Kathy's comment. I just donated. Thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate your support. And it turned into 132. See, Canadian dollar, right?
Oh, okay, you're right.
She way outdid me. I only gave.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I love having you here. You have been with me since the beginning. I really appreciate that.
I bragged that I gave you $20 and it turned into $26.59. So he outdid me by a mile.
Yeah.
Fine.
Look at it's not a competition, Steph.
So
Unless you want to make it one.
Everybody outdo Kathy now. See, I'm shamelessly plugging.
Yeah, I don't want it to become that, like an auction. Definitely not. I still want to.
I'm broke.
Then don't give me anything. If you're broke, please don't give me any money.
Too late. I already did.
I'll send it back to you.
No, you do. Don't you dare. You know what? As I said, we all get value out of this. I mean, if I can pay for, the silly Roku channels. I can certainly pay for this, which I watch religiously, and I'm sure a lot of us on here do.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So,
Check these things out. Natural, completely natural.
Natural columns.
come on,
Awesome.
are they actually saying these are natural though?
No, I don't know. This is probably
No.
the stovepipes. Maybe you see some vents up here. I honestly don't know. It's in Spain somewhere.
Well,
pretty fun, though.
after they finished digging out their dwelling out of the mountain, they decided to come up and put up some celebratory pillars.
Yeah. Well, look at this too. This would be in Turkey. That Turkey and Armenia area has a lot of this evidence, and as you can see, we're in several different stages here. We've got clearly remnants of structure, right? And then you look at the hillside around it. You've got apertures or openings everywhere. This is the kind of stuff that really convinced me with Meltology. Like, this does not make any sense in any other way.
Super obviously man-made.
Or intelligently made, for sure. And now, are we saying it was man like we were back then that made these? Who knows? Maybe we're a genetic modification. I'm starting to lean that way these days.
I did not come from monkeys.
No, and that I never believed that. Well, I probably did at one point, but I certainly don't believe it now. And that's another one of those things that was academia at the time when that was being introduced was dead set against it. It was like a very aggressive, I think it was Thomas Huxley, they called him Darwin's bulldog, a very aggressive approach to accepting those theories into the accepted realms of science, right? It's kind of interesting that way. The monkey, we came from monkeys millions of years ago, even though there's still monkeys now, right? They didn't.
Right, they didn't die.
There's not a half monkey, half man woman. So
yeah.
Well, we don't know that.
They'll make one for us.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Here's more of the the in-between stages, like the whole countryside. And we saw that in Wiley's video as well. The countryside, it was, this is not what we were being told it was. Yeah. And I follow a couple of those channels that do like backpacking and hiking, and they go like, I think I talked to you about this before, Steph. They go check out, I can't remember what they're called now. They go check out sites they find on Google Earth, and they're like, looks like melted structures or whatever, maybe modified. I saw one video where there's like shards of pottery everywhere. He's just like, everywhere he steps, he's got a shard of pottery. It's like, has that just been dropped from a plane or scattered around? It makes me wonder how thorough and how comprehensive the effort has been to distort the timeline, if you know what I mean. Like what I'm saying is the shards of pottery were introduced to portray a specific historical narrative. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think they're beyond that. Or above that, or
is that too much of a tinfoil hat for some people? Probably. Maybe that they would do that, and I would actually start thinking along those lines. I don't know. I just don't accept their. So I actually, on some of those videos, the guy's got like an expert from the university, archaeologist, walking around with him. I should actually find that clip. And the expert says, the guy asks him what we're looking at, and the expert gives an explanation. And he goes, well, that's just, he basically says that my explanation doesn't mean much. It's just what I'm saying. It doesn't mean it's fact, right? So it's all guesswork.
Not to beat the dead horse, but I think the fact that we just saw Katy Perry with in space proves that they were going to know ends to keep it going, you know. I mean, but I almost think we're at a point now where it's obvious. It just seems like that's absolutely ridiculous, even more ridiculous. The next one's even more ridiculous. It seems to be at the point, it's like, can we crack the shell of the matrix already? It's like we're getting some help almost in that regard. That's what it feels like to me. Although there's a lot of people I know that are still firmly embedded in that matrix illusion. Yeah, like what you said, the normies are just.
No, they're frustrating. Normies are frustrating.
Betsy wants to know who I am.
Yeah, who are you? Who are you, Steph? This is Steph, a friend of mine. She's been on a few lives in the past, and we got Mark from Our Melted Reality as well. Oh, Frankie was in there too. Sorry, Frankie, I saw you in the chat, and I got listening to the sound of my own voice. Sorry, Frankie. Hop back in if you want.
Can't leave the other knucklehead out, can you?
Yeah, no, totally. I saw it in there and I was going to click it, and all of a sudden I just went off on a tangent. Oh, well.
I think it's time for, when's the next Knuckleheads?
Well, we were trying to schedule it for Easter weekend coming up, but too many family obligations.
Yeah.
And, otherwise, time didn't work out. So within the next 2 weeks, hopefully we get something in. We're going to do Halifax on the east coast of Canada.
Oh, nice.
Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's got some serious old world stuff there.
Nova
Or did.
Scotia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
They just built that on top of a rock, and then I guess they used some veneer brick to fill this little gap in.
Yeah, totally logical.
They did a really good job of
wedging
fooling
that.
us. Well, no, I was going to say of distorting our perception to the point where we could actually have pictures taken right in front of this and not think twice about what went on here. You know, the illusion runs deep.
That is absolutely true. The fact that we could be walking around in well, I know I mentioned to you that that Kansas, the State House in Kansas, that the Hidden Truth guy did.
Yep.
That building is truly remarkable, unbelievable, and that's sitting there in Kansas. What? I'm
gonna get that since you bring that up. So let's so Hidden Truth. If you guys aren't aware of that channel, I'm going to pull it up here in a sec. He does amazing boots on the ground across the states. He goes into a lot of the old world buildings, and he did a recent video on the state capitol in Topeka. Am I right, Steph?
Yes.
I'm gonna jump to the end of that video, and I certainly recommend people check out his work because he's busting the narrative wide open.
Oh yeah,
his stuff's really good.
Yeah, and he's just really good at explaining what's going on there too.
Mm-hmm.
So here's his channel. I'm gonna mute it while we watch it, and we'll just take a look at some of the visuals of his work. Let's see if this. There we go. And I'll jump to the end, but like he does a real comprehensive boots on the ground video here, where I'll make this full screen.
I'm trying to remember if this
absolutely
is
spectacular. All the railings were like, yeah, with the dome. Am I finishing your sentences? Sorry.
No, I'm just thinking, wasn't that the one that had all the metal?
Yes, the metal railings. That's what I was about to say. Copper and metal columns and railings. So here we are looking up into the underside of the dome in Topeka. This one built in the 1870s in Topeka, Kansas, which I'll just give people some perspective here on how many people lived in Topeka at the time. I always liked the name Topeka. It's fun to say. 1870s in Topeka, Kansas, less than 10,000 people living there at the time in Topeka. But they had the means and skill to build this state capitol, apparently. There you have a good look at the...
What about the build time on that one? Is this the one that had the really funny...
Well, it's got a couple stages, right? They did the one wing, and then did the other wing, and then they connected it, and it's just like, yeah, I don't think so. I think this was all built at the same time. So you got copper railings, but I want to show the dome. Okay, let me go back here. So he keeps showing us the underside of the dome, right? So that you'd think maybe that's the top of the dome, what we're looking at here. So he makes his way up. I won't give it all away. You got to sub to his channel. I'm gonna jump. He does a tour. They'll go in behind the dome up here. I'm gonna jump ahead. Here they go. Oh, a little bit further. So now he's way at the top, looking down at where we just looked, and wondering how they did all this with horse and buggy, of course. And he's going to go to the other side of this glass here. And you wait till you see how much real estate. There it is. I'm skipping it. I'll let it play. Oh, no. Frankie wants the link. throwing the link back in there, Frankie, if you're there. He says a lot of the paint was redone in a massive multi-million-dollar renovation job that took them like years, like 20 years, to renovate the paint in this place. Okay, over hundreds of millions of dollars. You can see the paint on the one side, and he'll go up to the. There it is. Now he's gone above the dome that we could see. And take a look at what this is built of. 300 plus feet above the ground in Topeka, Kansas.
It's taller than the Capitol building in Washington.
Yeah.
The,
It's. There you go. Look how much room you have above the dome in that thing. So that's the visible end of the dome at the bottom here, and then this would to the outside of the dome. And then you look at the brickwork. Look how thick those brick walls are. And again, this is 300 feet above the ground, and this is the brickwork that was going on here at the time in Topeka. Yeah, it absolutely is unbelievable. And
there's
so it's
a really comical construction photo on Wikipedia with, with full-grown 100-year-old trees. So it's a construction photo.
Who's Frankie? Frankie.
Pretty hilarious.
Hello.
Hey, there you are.
Hey, how's it going, eh?
Good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for shooting me the link again.
Do you know
Appreciate
everybody here? We got Mark and we got Steph.
Yes, absolutely. How's everybody doing? Hello.
Hey, Frankie.
How's she going there,
I
bud?
love your show.
Well, Chris, I just wanted to say, as one Canadian to another, man, you're doing a great job. I'm a big fan of your show. I consider you a friend of mine, and just wanted to jump on and show my support, and just to tell you again to keep up the exceptional work. You do some really, really good stuff.
Thanks, Frankie. I feel the same way about you. You're gonna get me all choked up here.
Stop
I'm a little
it.
emotional.
Stop it.
No, we're resilient Canadians. We're resilient. We're tough.
Got to break out the maple leaf handkerchiefs now and wipe each other's tears away.
Did you see this one, Frankie?
No, I did not, actually.
What do you think of the people of Topeka, Kansas, doing this type of brickwork 300 feet off the ground in the 1870s? Why not?
You know what? It leaves somebody, it leaves you speechless, right? Really? Because,
yeah.
I mean, I see stuff like that out here too in Calgary. Maybe not to this level, but like the Calgary City Hall, which you're very familiar with, and other huge buildings here in Calgary. And then up in Edmonton, the capital here in the province of Alberta, that does have a huge Capitol building. And it's the same sort of narrative, right? They tell us that simultaneously, while it was cowboys and Mounties taming the Wild West from the crazy redskin Indians, look out, they'll get you. And, the buffalo and trying to get the railroad out here and all of that stuff. But then at the same time, these massive stone and brick structures that they try to, crowbar into the narrative. And I've been boots on the ground to many buildings in Edmonton and Calgary and other cities and towns in southern Alberta, and it's ridiculous. This building is very impressive, though, because this is just on a completely different level in terms of the size and the scope for Topeka, Kansas, right? Again, right? Because same thing, Wild West, all of that.
Yeah, and it's one of there's these places that really don't fit the narrative. Like Des Moines comes to mind as well, the 5-dome capital in Des Moines, Iowa. They're narrative busters.
Yeah.
It take much to look at them and to realize the story we're being told is hogwash, I think. But I thought this was incredible. Above the visible part of the dome is, I think he says it's another 70 plus feet from that visible part, which is right there. There's the very top of the dome that you can see from below. 70 feet plus from this part to the actual underside of the dome above. Which I didn't know that was how these things were constructed, but it kind of makes sense because the light's coming in those windows and providing light for the skylight at the top of the dome, rather than it just being right at the outside edge, which I always envisioned it being, I suppose. I should have thought a little harder about that one.
Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into the construction of those things, which again just helps to drive home the point that channels like you and Mark's channel and many other channels, Wiley down in Montana, you know, we're all beating the same drum, right? And a lot of people are now starting to finally realize this, that at least being able to question these things, and there's nothing wrong with questioning these things and looking a little deeper into it, because there are so many holes in the narrative, right? And there's been time extensions, time compressions, they rubber stamp, 30 buildings attributed to one guy, or one guy accomplished 10 different historical events and he's got all the medals to prove it. And, oh, but we don't have a photo of him on his Wikipedia page. Sorry. Stuff like that, right?
All within 3 years.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, within 1 year with winter.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the stories we get here, I saved a couple of pages for us to investigate, and you guys can let me know what you think of some of these timelines. I've got the overview of Rise Tower construction timeline. So this is a modern day estimation of how long it takes to put Rise Towers, I guess, multi-storied structures together, right? They get into a long explanation of each stage, but I'm just going to go to the summary just to give you an idea of the steps involved in the process of construction, which I focus a lot on in my videos. Right, so the typical construction timeline for a Rise Tower, here they say ranges between 2 and 4 years. This is the modern day, by the way, that we're talking about.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's because they've been working on a local addition to my community center here in Calgary, in my neighborhood of Sunalta here, for it's going on 2 years now, and this is a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot 2-story building. So, you're
calling bullshit on this timeline. This is our modern.
It's not for me to use such strong language, but the guy's gonna call bullshit. Yeah.
Maybe
I'm gonna call Buffalo shit.
Maybe they're painting the coffered ceilings.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping it up.
Well, look how they break this down time-wise. The pre-construction itself, compared to the superstructure, which is what we see going up. That's all like the visual. Like when I was doing a lot of building, it was all about visual progress. We used to make that was like a line we'd use during the day. You got to get the next floor up, so everybody driving by sees visual progress. You know what I mean? That would be the superstructure. That would be, okay, they got another floor up today. Okay, they got another floor up, that kind of thing. But look at there's almost the same amount of time dedicated to pre-construction, planning, design, approval, all the rest of it. Now, you could shorten that, sure, back in the 1800s with, there's less safety and blah, 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 but you still need to plan and design, right? So they don't account for this time period in the narrative, and they certainly don't account for this time period in the given timelines that we get for a lot of these old structures, right?
Yeah, well, and to perpetuate the stereotype of Canada, some parts of the realm that we live in experience some pretty harsh winters, and going back to Topeka, Kansas for a second, they're no exception.
Yeah.
So they're saying, that was built in 3 years, or whatever their goofy story is on that. But you've got to take into account that for the first few stages of construction, they're not doing a lot in the winter, if anything, or in the spring when everything melts and the construction site is all muddy. And, you're not going to have horses and men down in a construction foundation, let's say, in the spring in the 1880s or 1890s or whatever, when it's 2 feet of mud,
Yeah. And
or if it's minus 30 outside.
Yeah, mortar and concrete don't set until a certain temperature is reached. Paint won't dry until a certain temperature is reached. So let's envision some of these gilded mansions that were said to have been built before power. Were they heating these places before they painted them to allow for the paint to dry? Have they even thought of that in the narrative? if they were using some sort of fire or torch, then they would be damaging the work they're doing in the ceilings themselves. So there's no logic there. There's a lot of holes in the narrative that seem to keep popping up, not less holes.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there's no problem with asking questions about it. And your background in construction lends a lot of credibility to the questions that you're asking.
Well, I appreciate that too. Where do they have it right up here, and they talk about depending on what they have for excavation equipment and that kind of thing. So this timeline that we've looked at, 2 to 4 years average for this type of modern day construction, is that's obviously assuming that we have massive machinery to get these jobs done for the excavations. And I talk about this a lot. Hydraulic power really did not come on strong until early 1900s, 1906 or so, when they started using oil, a petroleum byproduct, rather than water, which wasn't very good. So the hydraulic powered machines really didn't take hold until we got into the 20th century. So you can't account for any of that with these early buildings as well. We're going to show the flying train in Wuppertal. Get some. Let's get off those word pages and get some more visuals. This is one of the early ones that got me into this stuff as well. Looking at the technological advances.
This is one of my favorites right here.
Yeah, this is that suspended tram train thing, right?
Yeah, the video footage is from 19.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
So this was supposedly shot in 1902 and it has been remastered and colorized and all the rest. But take a look at the tech for those of you who haven't seen this one yet. I couldn't believe this.
Doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yes, it does.
Oh, it does.
Apparently, yeah.
And if you look at the cars, that the people are sitting in, these train cars, or for lack of a better term, I'll call them train cars.
Yeah.
They're not just like crappy tin box. I mean, these are luxurious. This is a luxurious mode of transportation. They actually gave a crap when they were even just putting in public transit back in the old world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was amazed with when I saw the inside of it, the interior of one of those airships, which we just see we just think it's a big,
airspace
ritual thing, and then you look inside and the thing's all luxurious. And
well, they had separate rooms. They had banquet rooms, dining rooms, dance hall, ballrooms, and then kitchens, fully stocked kitchens to prepare the meals. They served meals. They had entertainment. It was like being in a ocean liner, but in the air.
In the air, yeah.
Essentially what it was, yeah. But everybody just thinks that big space is just a balloon, but it's actually a rigid structure with different levels, different rooms, cargo area, passenger area, the whole bit, observation deck.
What a cool way to travel. Of course, they get rid of it, Hindenburg and all.
Yeah, I wanted to stop it here. I just caught a little glimpse of. Mark, are you still seeing this?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you see the bottom of the column looking damaged to me compared to some of the brickwork in here?
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. It just caught my eye as we were rolling along there. Look at the technology involved here in the construction of this thing. Look right into the embankments of the canal in 1902.
People got very clever very suddenly.
Yeah, exactly. In a span of several decades, right? Of what we're being told. They figured out way too much, way too quickly. Look at that. It just looks odd. The supports for that, it just looks otherworldly.
It does, yeah.
Every time I look at a bridge now, I wonder to myself, is this a bridge that was already here? Because, we don't know. We only know what we see that's happening, in our lifetime. If it was here in our grandparents' lifetime or whatever, they're not around anymore to tell you. Or maybe in some cases they are, but.
Yeah, no, I try not to make assumptions and say, okay, that's got to be from then, that's got to be from then. We don't know, do we? We really don't know.
No. No, we're basically we have to go off what everybody else has to go off of, and we just look at it with a little bit more scrutiny, and maybe challenge the narrative or the story a little bit more than some do.
Yeah. There's Kairos. Hey, Kairos.
Hey, speaking of finding rocks with bricks inserted, he's got some really good boots on the ground where it's like, now I wonder how they got that. I wonder how that got that chunk of brick inserted behind that melty rock bit there.
Well, Kairos has found entire hillsides
Yeah,
that are brick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Melted brick avalanches.
And who could look at that and really think, well, obviously somebody stuck those bricks behind there. I mean, it's clear.
Yeah, because that's so easy to do, right, Stephanie? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder how long they were working on. Like, can anybody pinpoint? Like, when do we start looking everything up? Well, when do we start Googling? When do we start Wikipediaing everything? Because everybody, you want to get an answer. What do? You look it up on Wikipedia. But it's such garbage. I was just reading about the old main on the campus of the University of Wyoming. And it says that it was, it gives you the architect and it tells you when it was built in 1886. But it says the architect began his career in 1890. Well, that's cool because he apparently designed this amazing building in 1886 before he was even being an architect. I mean, it's like that you find that all over the place with just these stupid, who wrote this? If this was one of my students, I'd give him a D. Maybe even not that. This is a terrible paper. And the Masonic Order laid the cornerstone in 1886, and it was open for classes less than a year later, to September 6th in 1887 in Wyoming. In Wyoming, they have bad winters, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So they laid the cornerstone in the end of September, and then just started work. I mean, the building is ridiculous. It's enormous, and I mean, it's still around, which is cool.
Wyoming's one of those states that has extreme weather where it gets like wicked, super hot and dry in the summer. And then in the winter, they do get snow and it gets cold.
Brutal. Yeah. Well, you should see this building. I highly recommend everybody look up the old main on the campus of the University of Wyoming and marvel at its grandeur and then look up at the story. It's hilarious.
I found a lot of what we like to call one-year wonders here in Calgary that all you can do is scratch your head and say, like, who is believing this story?
Any of
and it's in the city archives. It's on the plaque that they attach to the building, the whole bit. A 3-story sandstone building with turrets and conical domes that is, a quarter of a city block. And here in Calgary, an old school, actually. And they say, oh, yeah, that was built in a year. Take off.
Well, what has he found? Yeah. And the thing with that, too, Frankie, is that who actually cares about the past? They've trained us not to care about it. Look at this.
Well, yeah. So,
right. They trained us to be boring, basically.
Yeah. So people will read the plaque and just say, oh, okay. I read the plaque and I go, whoa, hang on a second there, buddy. What are you trying to tell me here?
Yeah.
That a bunch of cowboys whipped this school up in a year?
Yeah.
Here in Canada through a winter.
Yeah.
Baked beans. Diet of baked beans.
Yeah, baked beans and beer. Well, you get a couple of Canadians with some baked beans, beer, and donuts, and we can knock up anything out of sandstone.
Whiskey for the hard days. Whiskey for the real hard days.
Oh, for sure, bud. Rye whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, Kairos walked me through San Francisco a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, and crazy the topography there and how everything is like underground. Like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Kairos just not too long ago, and he asked AI, "What was the something like this? What's the most unaccounted material ever, basically?" And it came back with bricks.
Brick, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You mean account for, like, they can't account for their manufacture? Is that what you mean?
Mark,
What'd you say,
that's
Chris?
Yeah, I'm just curious. So you mean unaccounted for is there's no explanation for where they were manufactured and
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, just basically unaccounted for through basically history. There's so many bricks everywhere that just it's not they're not in the history books really as far as where they come from and everything. And there's so many of them. So AI probably was correct on that. Yeah, it's the most unaccounted for material on Earth, basically.
Well, like in some ways, I feel like it's the building blocks of our reality almost, and all we're seeing is modified forms of it.
I think that's so true. When you're driving along and you see these areas where it's brick colored. It's all the ground is brick colored.
You mean like Australia? You mean?
But it looks like scorched earth.
Like all of Australia? You mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
All of Alabama.
All of Alabama.
Yeah, red clay everywhere.
All of southern Alberta.
And a lot of the desert in the western part of the U.S. is just like it's scorched earth with these areas of solidly red remains.
Yeah, it's and then you get, like you saw in Wiley's video, the little circular almost outcroppings that are supposed to be in the middle of nowhere, but like he put it really well in that. Is this somebody's porch? It looked flat. It looked like columns. It looked like the remains of columns. I thought that was really interesting. And I just realized I've been a little bit rude because I have not introduced either of your guys' channel, so I'm going to do that right now.
Typical Canadian, all worried about being all rude and stuff, eh?
Hate asking for money, but here I am asking for money.
You Canadians are so nice.
Well, some of us. We're about to have an election up here. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, we'll see how nice we are here in the next few weeks. Let the mudslinging begin.
Who are they electing? What's happening?
Oh, a very deeply entrenched globalist puppet. No question about it. Very deeply entrenched. Yeah. So this is Mark's channel.
Must be nuts. This guy must be nuts. Whoever's channel this is.
Yeah, this guy is not right in the head. What's his name again? I think his name is Mark. Wait a minute. It's the same symbol you have. I'm going to show a little bit of your stuff, and then I'll hop over to Frankie's too, just to be a gracious host. And apologies for overlooking that.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, there,
Mark,
speaking of the red.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, right there, yeah.
This is actually in Georgia, right over the Alabama-Georgia line. And just real quick, the narrative here is in the, I think, 1850s, starting around the 1840s or something. They had cotton plantations, and in the period of, I think, about 20 to 30 years or so, it well, of course this isn't it, but it deteriorated from water erosion and created this canyon right here. It only in a period of about, I think, 30 or 40 years, but it doesn't show anything, of course, because it just happened from about 1850 to 1890 or something. And then here you go, here's a canyon.
Yeah. What do you think of this comment? I'll comment on it first. How about the Canadian Shield? All granite? No, not mud, I think you means. Or now mud. You're lost in bullshit. Well, thanks, Paul, for telling me we're lost in bullshit. I appreciate your inquisitive, open-minded attitude. Thanks for being here. What do you think of granite, Mark? I know you have altered states of matter. What do you think?
Oh, man,
you come on my channel. You're gonna get the pitchfork, folks. Just so you know.
I do think so. I think most of it is altered states of matter. Just like the marble quarries and stuff. There's even one near me, 30 miles away. It's one of the largest in the world. I think it's the fourth. It's in Sylacauga, Alabama, but and it's miles of marble. I do think it's altered. I'm not saying all of it. It's really. I'm still not 100%. I don't know. But I see columns and stuff that were made of brick, and then you see the marble or the granite or whatever, and it's kind of confusing on that aspect. But yeah, I don't know. But I lean that some of it is altered to change to that.
Yeah, they're certainly not in the original state they were in. Any of this,
Right.
and we don't know what type of what happened. First of all, we don't know what happened and how intense that was, but we know it was intense and that things were changed. Some people get into the trees as well, which is also very interesting. Were there trees? Are we looking at petrified wood in some cases?
Right.
We don't really know, right? And it's possible. What we know for sure, what I know for sure is what we've been told is bullshit. That's all. That's as far as I can go with certainty. Other than that, it's all up for grabs.
Right. 100%. Everything we've been taught is BS.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's funny how when somebody who doesn't have a quote unquote academic background proposes a theory, a philosophy, an idea, or again, just poses questions, then instantly everybody's hackles come up, but if somebody's got a bunch of letters in front or behind their name and they've got all kinds of certificates on the wall, then whatever they say is pure gold. You can take that to the bank there, buddy. You can lock it and put it in your pocket, guaranteed.
Right.
Cheers, Paul. Cheers, Paul. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
That's the thing, though, that anybody that's got the letters behind their name, it especially nowadays, it only means that you listened in class and you told them back what they told you. It didn't mean you did any investigation for yourself, and it didn't mean you opened your eyes and looked at things logically. The second you start looking at things and going, no, that doesn't make any sense, then you're
shunned.
Yeah.
No, you'll be shunned. If a fellow academic gets out of line, then he'll be shunned from academia and blacklisted and lose tenure or whatever the case may be, right? And we've seen that from geologists, archaeologists, anthropologists.
Doctors.
All these people are saying, like doctors, all these people are saying, hey, I'm seeing something here that doesn't go with academia. And again, they're just questioning, and career destroyed, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend who works at a university. He's in radiology research, and he, actually, I used to think of him as a very kind of more left-leaning, and he became incredibly right and truthy. And I was like, when did the switch happen? He said, because I was doing research. And if the research we did, if the answers we found weren't the answers they were looking for, they shunned it. It wasn't. They didn't want the research. They wanted a preconceived notion. They wanted your research to support the theory. And from the time he realized that, he started really, really questioning things. And now he does all kinds of. Gives out information on 5G and the dangers thereof and everything, but he used to think that way until he realized that all the work he was doing wasn't really netting him anything because he wasn't saying the right thing. It'd be hard to be a researcher and no, that's not the research we wanted you to find.
Yeah, you have to fit it all into the box, and we know we don't. I guess we're not in these fields of research, so. Academically, so we have nothing to lose as far as that goes. Only really a social reputation where people will point fingers and laugh at you. So all you got to do is be able to take the finger pointing and the laughing, and then you can have some fun with it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They point and screech, and
and they do screech sometimes. It's funny when people get their hair up and rabidly defend. I get that in my comments. I've talked about this before. Rabidly defend the narrative to the point where they're almost cutting and pasting the Wikipedia write-up on a given building or location.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I did read that, and I probably shared it in the video, but thank you for doubling down on it.
That's why
telling me
sorry,
what
Mark, go ahead.
Was that I was just like, yeah, thank you for telling me what I've already been for years drilled in my head from this indoctrination. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you for reaffirming it.
Yeah.
Here's Frankie's channel, just for anyone out there. New West Reset, my Calgary buddy, and I'll throw one of yours on as well. Just
actually, if you go down to that one right there, that's a 1 year wonder. I was just talking about that building.
Oh, okay. I was already there. I'll go back to it.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, I figured that was the one. Yeah. But and then you do all your boots on the ground in Calgary, right? Like it was one of my early videos that I did Calgary, one of the first ones.
Yeah, and that's what turned me onto your channel, was that magically YouTube actually delivered you onto me by putting you in my feed, because there was the video you did on Calgary, and I'm like, hey, I that's where I live, man. So I clicked on it,
That
and
was when they were giving me
the
that
rest is
confidence
history.
boost. Yeah,
What's that?
that's when they were giving me a confidence boost with a couple of videos that they were pushing into the algorithm just to get me excited about my channel. That's it.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the early days. Yeah.
They're like, let's
It's been
just
fun.
group these nut jobs together.
Yeah. You don't.
Exactly.
They made a huge mistake. Hey, Frankie, they made a huge mistake letting us.
That's the birth of the Knucklehead show.
Look at the thing
Yeah.
above the door there that's all scrubbed off. You know, that had to have said something at one time. Little
Yeah.
decorative thing above those.
Oh yeah, those cartouches. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
always smoothed off, but they had.
They're
to
almost always
stop.
blank. Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck is this for?
So this is
And,
that huge school I was talking about that has really suspiciously low windows that they like to
Oh,
plant
yeah.
bushes and flowers in front of,
Mhm.
and made out of sandstone. It's, if you include the quote unquote basement, it's 3 floors, and it takes up, like I said, about a quarter of a city block. And they built it, I can't remember the exact date, prior to WW1, and they built it in a year. I think I do a close up on the plaque on the side of the thing. It's a beautiful building, and it's one of my favorites in the city, but there's no way they built this in a year. We get some pretty rough winters here, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Calgary timeline is very condensed too, right? There's a great fire in the 1880s, I believe.
Yeah,
And,
1886.
It's a thingamajigger, yep.
Yeah, and they lump all these into like right around the turn of the century, I would think, give or take, in this location. So the timeline
they try to say that a lot of these buildings are post Great Calgary Fire, but a lot of them look hundreds of years old. This one's no exception.
Is this a school, Frankie? Is that what you said?
It was a school. It's now part of a medical center, I believe. They've built an entire new portion onto the back of this building that takes up the other quarter of that half city block.
Sandstone, right? Sandstone is medium. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get away with a lot of that monkeying around with the timeline, because they say that at one point Calgary had more than a dozen local sandstone quarries, like within a mile or two of the town limits at the time. So it was real easy, supposedly, to just load up tons of horses and carts with giant blocks of sandstone and just giddy up them into town and whack them up,
Yeah, except somebody did an AI thing with that, like how big of a stone you could put on one of those carts before the cart would just like fold in half. Those carts couldn't have supported that weight. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, a lot of the problem is the wooden spokes or spindles in the wheels, the wagon wheels.
Yeah. Yep.
What's funny is they have to put the gutters further from below ground level right there to divert the water so it won't flood.
Yeah, whenever you see modern renovations on an old world building like that, the downspouts are really far from the building. The gutters are huge. A lot of times they put pea gravel around the perimeter of the building for a few feet, because they're trying to do anything to keep the moisture away from that lower level.
Yeah. Kairos has a good point here too. What are the chances all these fires happen at the same time, and then they spread it out? And you could say the same for a lot of the wars as well. I think Lucius Aurelian did a good video on that, talking about all the little wars that were going on in the 1800s, and what if it was all just the same war. He made a good comparison of uniforms and everything. So it's kind of
they just give them different names and stuff. It's certainly a possibility.
Were actually wars, and how many of them were just planned demolitions of places? Here, we'll dress you up like soldiers, and we're going to go demolish this place.
Yeah, like a different explanation for this going on over here and a different explanation over there, but it's all part of the same concerted effort.
That's why I would love to see you and whomever else would do the cities somehow are more swallowable. They're because it's a city. Oh, of course it's got this big giant building. But what's really puzzling is when you go to these. So ever since I moved to the east here, I do my little road trips around, and the stuff is in these little nothing towns, like with nobody. I mean, you look it up, and there was never any these giant edifices, and
Yep. Yeah, that's one reason I've gone into the smaller locations, right? Because you find a lot of the same stuff in very, very small towns. You know,
I've found that here in southern Alberta, actually, where I've gone to towns with 1,500 people, 2,500 people, and they have buildings like this, or it might be brick rather than sandstone.
And schools that are just enormous. And,
yeah.
And like, who are they schooling? And then of course, well, yeah, but it was built in 1826, of course, when there were 500 people here. We needed it. I mean,
what do you guys think of this one? Do you believe there were 25-foot humanoids as a part of these constructions? Anyone have anything to say?
I do think that there were giants. I don't know if 25 feet tall. I'm thinking it's not unreasonable to think, maybe 18 feet tall. I mean, we have in modern history, and we have photographs and actually film footage of people that are 10 feet tall. There's a couple of Canadian giants that were way over 8 feet tall.
I think there's
like living giants.
Than we've been. There's probably more evidence of giants than we've been allowed to be.
Smithsonian? Are you getting at the Smithsonian?
All the good stuff is hidden away, not for your eyes.
That's what they should really open that up to the public, don't you think? What's in the Smithsonian?
Yeah, the doors absolutely tell the tale.
Yeah.
I do have to apologize a little bit here. A caveat with this video is it's an older video. I didn't have my phone didn't have a zoom on it, and I didn't have my a gimbal yet, so it's a little bit shaky and a little rough around the edges.
It's fine, Frankie. It's authentic. It's authentic.
I don't know. I was about to toss my cookies.
I know, right? To get some motion sickness. Who's this Frankie guy giving everybody motion sickness?
Yeah. Hey, it looks
like US
like
reset's garbage. I'm going to throw up again.
Frankie, you know what it looks like you're doing here? You've seen this Kids in the Hall sketch?
Yeah.
Crushing your skull, flathead.
That's what I thought you were doing there. Sorry, guys. That's a Canadian comedy reference. I'm crushing your head, Kids in the Hall. You can look it up.
Hey, I'm American. I remember.
No, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize.
Watched a bunch of those episodes. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool. So you guys had it crossed the border, did it? Kids in the Hall.
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, my one of my nicknames is Frankie Fingers because I talk with my hands a lot in my videos, and people either love it or it pisses them off. They're like, "Get your stupid hand out of there."
I
love it. It's great.
I do. I love the hand.
Okay, I'm going to jump over. So I had a little bit of narrative I was going to share tonight. So let me hop over to. So let's poke holes in the historical narrative, shall we? We got the history of railroads. So this is modern day. How many miles of railroad can be laid in one day? Let's have a look. So they have the big write-up of it being very time consuming and all the rest of it. What do they say here? Some of the most efficient railroad construction crews have been known to lay as many as 10 miles or more of track in a single day. This is in 2024. More typical scenarios, though, you would see 1 to 3 miles of railroad track in a day, typically in the modern day. And that has to do with heavy machinery, availability of heavy machinery, and ability to work 24 hours and all the rest of it. So I wanted to lay the groundwork there for you guys while we hop over to the Great Track Laying Race of 1869.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so apparently they were racing to get her done here. Great Track Laying Race of 1869, unofficial contest between Union Pacific and the Central Pacific. Starting in 1868. The record was set on April 28th, 1869 by Chinese and Irish crews, of course. on the Central Pacific who laid 10 miles of track in one day. That record was broken the next year by about 1,000 feet by two crews from the Kansas Pacific working from opposite ends of the same track. So to sum it up, in the modern day with heavy equipment, the average is about 1 to 3 miles a day. You could get 10 miles, is what they're saying. Probably referencing this, to be honest with you.
That's the covering their asses. Yeah.
But in 1869, right after the American Civil War, they were doing it to get her done. I always found that pretty funny.
Give her, bud. Give her.
10 miles of track laid in one day. And of course, they're commemorating this in some of these locations. At the Golden Spike National Historic Park. Yeah.
Hey, bud, you'll find the same kind of goofy stories if you look up the building of the transcontinental Canadian Railroad as well, right?
Do they have track laying races as well?
Oh, they had all kinds of wacky stuff, man. Let's import Chinese labor, 5,000 Chinese laborers because we can pay them $1 a day instead of $2 a day like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Irish coming in way from Ireland all the way to British Columbia to work on the railroad.
Okay.
You know how far that is, man?
Yeah, so it's the same story with different names and a couple of particulars on geography changed around. So this seems to be the case no matter where we look. We're getting like a structure, a basic structure for a story, and then they just fill in some of the details. That always seems to be the case. I wanted to look at the rail cars themselves, the street cars themselves. I have a file here of cities from all over the world that had the streetcar in effect. It didn't seem to matter because, let me just show you. History of trams. Here you can do the Wikipedia search and it'll tell you the history of trams and it'll give you the horse-drawn narrative, blah, blah, blah. Once they get to the electrification, I might have passed it, it's only really
thing is shenanigans, man.
100%. It makes no sense, right? It makes no sense at all. Here's the steam portion. Thank you for providing that. And where's the electrical? Cable hauled. So I actually had a cable, like a pulley. Interesting. Gas. We're getting electric. Here we go. Where's the timeline? Oh, I may have lost it.
They also used to use little steam locomotives to pull a lot of the little street cars or trams too, depending.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when it gets to the point where it is introduced, I think we're close in late 1880s, you have basically a 2-year period. Here, this is Japan. I don't know where it is. Apologies, guys. You can look through it if you want to know the details. It's basically 2 years, and these things are everywhere in cities all over the world. In late 1880s.
Cities and towns of like 1,500 people would have an electric tram or streetcar or trolley or whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's interesting because the narrative does not talk about the towns, but it's
no, of course not. And they also don't talk about the interurban systems where these electric trolleys would go from town to town.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point too. So all of this stuff just popped up overnight, really, almost literally, all over the world at the same time, is what they want us to believe. Yeah. This is in Sydney, Australia. Down under.
Well, those prisoners were great workers.
Highly skilled.
Yes.
Yeah, and they did it all upside down on the other side of the ball.
That's right. They kept passing out because the blood would rush their head.
Blood rush into their heads, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's the best.
Yeah. I'll show a couple of these visuals. We'll just peruse some of the visuals. This is Boston.
I'm not going to lie. I love the old streetcar or trams, man. Like Heritage Park here in Calgary still has a running electric trolley that you can ride into and out of the park. And it's incredible. And Edmonton actually still has a portion of their original electric streetcar track that goes over the high level bridge, which goes over the North Saskatchewan River there that runs through the city.
Yeah.
And it's the old timey trolley, man. It's great. It's beautiful.
Interesting. Yeah, some have retained it, some have erased its memory from our existence.
Well, they retain a small portion and it becomes a nice little tourist attraction. And that's, and they make it all kitschy, right? But they don't get into the deep details of it.
No. And they had was it a funicular?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Edmonton had one at the base of the Hotel McDonald. The railroad castle. I mean, hotel.
That's for those that don't know, that's like an inclined tram ride kind of thing, or
it's an incline streetcar. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were more widespread than we've been told as well.
So do you suppose those were just there way, way before, and they found them and tried to figure out how to make them work, and so they started with the horses, and then,
I think it's this old infrastructure that's being repurposed, and
why else would the streets be so wide to accommodate horse and buggy traffic, people on bicycles, pedestrians, and in some cases 2 sets of tram tracks, one for each direction?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that does make more sense.
Yeah, now they're wide enough to accommodate double lane, sometimes triple lane roads in these major cities without changing the location of the buildings.
I think a lot of the infrastructure, like these trams, were already there. Mm-hmm. And like Stephanie said, they were found, and it took them a while to kind of reverse engineer to figure out how to work them. But they just couldn't wait. They were like a kid at Christmas. Look at these things. We'll get horses to pull them for now.
Yeah.
Actually, I have on my channel old footage from the London tram system, where simultaneously they have horse-drawn ones and electric ones. So there was a period of overlap for a couple of years. Actually, I think New York as well, there was a period of overlap.
Okay, you want to help me find that one? Let's throw it on.
Oh wow. Okay, if you go to playlists, I guess, and you go to vintage footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let her load up here, and can you see?
Oh man.
You got a lot in here.
Man, I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos on my channel.
No, timing.
It's London, right?
Yeah, it's London. Yeah, but it might not have London in the title.
Okay, well that doesn't.
Chances are it will. I know it doesn't help. I'm terrible.
Not help. It's interesting when they're redoing the roads and they're ripping everything up, and they take up the concrete and then, or the what do you call that stuff, asphalt, and then underneath that, and they're finding bricks, and then they pull. Oh, look at that! There's tracks in the.
Yeah, they find tracks under the pavement. Yeah,
the pavement. Yeah, I feel like that happened even up in Nashville. There's been all kinds of curious stuff as they rip things down up there.
Yeah,
buildings that go way down into the ground, and
yeah, you see half paved, half brick in some places where the pavement has sort of washed away, but the brick's still good to go. The brick's still
the brick is still
holding out.
Yeah, it looks beauty, and the blacktop is just crud. Yeah, it's amazing how that happens, isn't it?
I know, because it sucks, especially in places with weather.
Well, sorry, Chris. I'm scrolling through too, Chris. I'm trying to find.
Okay, you find it and let me know.
I don't mean to hold up the show here.
Come on, man. Come on, you're holding up the show.
Get your act together, bud.
No pressure.
Yeah, take a look at these. Go ahead.
I gotta ask Mark, without
Oh, I found it. Sorry.
revealing you specifically, what part of Alabama are you in?
I'm in north central Alabama, about an hour east of Birmingham, Alabama, which is.
So are you like?
Throw it in the chat, Frankie.
Are you near like Coleman and that, or no?
Well, Coleman's it's towards Birmingham area, so I'm more towards the Georgia side. But I'll tell you,
okay.
I'm in Talladega County is the county I'm in.
Oh, like
who wants to go fast? Talladega.
I don't live too far from that track.
Oh, okay. Because I'm right up over the border, right up over the Alabama border in Tennessee.
Actually, Frankie, I can't actually pull that out of the chat. So,
well, we're not too far from each
what's
other.
the name of the video?
I know.
I put it in the private chat too. The link's in the private chat.
Oh, okay. That might work. That will definitely work.
There might be copyrighted music, so you probably just want to mute it. In fact, it is copyrighted
Yeah.
music. It's the Tragically Hip Boots or Hearts.
Well, people want to hear our golden voices.
That's
Ooh.
right. Well, I was always
You're-
told I have a face for
Wait,
radio.
Chris, are you
so.
gonna sing? You should. How come
You guys know? You guys heard of the Tragically Hip, my American friends?
This might actually be Big Sugar covering the Tragically Hip.
We're getting very
No, I
Canadian on you guys.
love-
Tragically Hip, for
I
those that
love
don't
all
know,
the music
are
that-
the greatest Canadian band of all
Frankie
time.
always plays cool tunes on his little breaks. Just take a break, get a tune.
I would, you know what, Frankie? I would even wager to say that possibly the best band of the last 30 years, Canadian or otherwise. Tragically Hip. There.
Oh, they're in, dude. They're in my I put them up there with like some of the greatest bands of all time, like Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones. Man,
Yeah, they're.
it just so happens they're Canadian, is all. I mean, I'm not really
Yeah.
biased, to be honest with you. See there, electric tram and a horse-drawn in behind it.
At the same time.
The electric's got the right of way, so the horse has to wait till the electric trams make their turn.
But they were cooking along there, going fast.
There's a chaotic element to these scenes, I find.
Yeah.
Well, every once in a while on my live show, I do a thing where I call it pedestrian oblivion, like Manhattan pedestrian oblivion, Chicagoan pedestrian oblivion, and it's street scene footage like this where people seem to be oblivious to the dangers of the traffic, whether it's horse and buggy and trams or whether it's cars at some point, in the early 1900s. People are darting in and out of traffic to cross the street. Worse than jaywalkers today. Way worse. It's like they're completely oblivious to it.
Yeah,
it is. It's chaotic. Those old videos, what you're talking about, Frankie, it's insane.
I remember
really.
that, Scott Baker. They always look like the people in these pictures always look like they're, I don't know, somehow without direction. It almost like it's so chaotic and random. Like, where are they going and what are they doing? I don't know. Almost.
Now,
like
mind you,
this is
this is big city London, so of course, I mean, by the narrative, it's supposed to be a lot of people and a lot of traffic, but you're right. Just people aren't crossing at intersections. People aren't looking both ways to see if the tram's coming or if some guy pulling a buggy with a horse is coming. Like and meanwhile, people are whizzing by on bicycles all the while, as well too. So yeah, it's madness.
Yeah, it's like they're disoriented and they don't really know where they are.
Or it's badly directed. Where's Stanley Kubrick when you need him?
Oh, yeah, maybe. You know what? I also wonder too. Where were they keeping all the horses back before all of these? Like, how many stables were in the city, in these big cities? Where were all the stables? I'm sure there were stables, but you would have needed a lot of horses to transport all these people around.
Oh, absolutely. Even here in Calgary, a smaller city, they had, I think at one time, 30 cars for their tram or trolley system. Now, they didn't start here by pulling them with horses, which boggles my mind because we have that cowboy narrative big time here in Calgary, the world's biggest rodeo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The Calgary Stampede. But they skipped the horse pulling the trolley narrative here.
Look at this woman in the front. What is she doing? She's just like sort of swirling and she just what's happening?
She doesn't know where to go, how to cross.
She's like, was I supposed to go somewhere here? Where I missed my direction. Where's my cue?
But you got to think of a bigger city that had more than 30 streetcars, and if it was at an early time where they were being pulled by horses, most of these cars were pulled by 2 horses. So if you have 50 cars, that's 100 horses just to,
Yeah.
And that doesn't include your fire engines were horse-drawn back then, so they had to have stables for those, and delivery, like your milk was delivered, everything was delivered. Like if you didn't go to market, you could get it delivered, but everybody had to have a horse to pull their carts. So yeah, where are all the stables, right?
Is this still Frankie's video?
No, I've gone back to my file.
It's funny you see this, and it reminds me of all my pictures from Europe. It looks vaguely familiar, but I have no idea what it is.
This is called Mullet's Monstrosity. It was a City Hall station post office in New York that was short-lived. I think it lasted only a couple decades before they tore it down because it was so ugly.
Yeah.
They're
couple
calling this
decades.
an ugly
A
monstrosity.
They called it Mullet's Monstrosity. Yeah, that's what they called it. Yeah.
Holy moly!
What's interesting is the wear on the streets.
Look at the streets. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we're clearly at the turn of the century here, I would say. Not much further than the turn of the century, maybe a decade in. But look, how old does this look? How old does the wear and tear on the streets look here? You know, those are the
Possibly
things
some damaged brick there. Yeah.
Yeah, the frying of the circuit board again, right? Fusing and damaging everything around it. Is this a question for me? Do you have a subscription for your channel? I'm not sure who it's for.
Meaning a paid, probably asking if you.
I don't. No, I have, a couple sources, and the links are in the description for ways that you can support good old world exploration on this handout request. Oh man, it feels so awkward. I don't like it.
Quit being Canadian. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't have a lot of time to make content, but I'm still going to make content for you. And even if you don't help support me, I'm still going to make content for you. And so that's just kind of how it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but you should say, I won't be able to make content anymore. Folks, please pitch in so I can afford to do this.
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to say, but I don't want that to be like a threat or end all and be all. I don't want to come across that way.
But to interrupt you a little bit, Chris, earlier when you were saying at the beginning of the show about not monetizing, and I had that decision too, really, when I first started my channel, and even after a few thousand or whatever subscriptions or whatever, you can't. I don't want to jeopardize anything I put on there. Mm-hmm. So yes. I don't. They don't. As far as they won't take stuff down and really limit you to what happens if they give you, say, a strike for some content as far as the music or anything. As far it's just it's a copyright, but it doesn't matter. And if you go back towards the shoot, I lost my train of thought. But if you go back towards the monetization, then they can take some stuff down or even take your channel down. So I always, I love that about. I'm not saying that's wrong to monetize. It's just I love that aspect of that people don't do that, and that's why I have a lot of respect that people don't do that, because it gives you more.
Am I understanding that if you don't monetize, they leave you alone, but if you do monetize, then then they mess with you?
Well, it's only on certain things, really.
They don't leave you alone, but
never leave you alone.
They put you under a much more of a scrutinous microscope when you monetize. Like I actually was monetized for a couple of days because my subscribers were like, "Hey, man, we want to send you super chats." Mm-hmm. And much like Chris, I felt a little awkward about it because
you're Canadian.
Yes, I'm a Canadian, so I'm just awkward in general, and I felt that it was rude to put that up there almost. But then I got a notification from YouTube saying that because I've monetized and joined their what do they call it? Their basically income sharing, right? That basically what they were saying is now they're going to go through my content again and see if there's anything that's doesn't go along with what they like, and so there's the risk of it being removed or demonetized. So I switched back to not being demonetized, and put up a PayPal instead. And anybody who makes a donation on my PayPal, if they're comfortable giving me their mailing address, I had some T-shirts made and I mail them a T-shirt as a thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they're getting the content, but they're also getting a gift as a thank you from me for supporting the channel. But like most of us, the best way to support is just to, do all the YouTube stuff, right? Hit the like and leave a comment and, support the channel that way.
Yeah, just real quick too. I had a question there. Who else is there besides Frankie and I? We got Mark, our melted reality, and we got Steph, the Babylon Fox. Steph's a good friend of mine. She's been on a few lives. So in case anyone else was wondering that maybe they just shot in, and this is the intention.
Wait, that's you, Steph?
Yeah, magic voice. That's what I do. I'm a voice teacher, but I'm
Yeah,
Babylon Fox.
Babylon Fox.
I have this.
I just put that together when Chris said it. I'm like, oh.
I have this idea of having a channel sometime, but so it's there ready to go when.
So I know both of you.
Yeah, you know both of me.
Has she been trolling your chats? Has she been trolling your chats? Frankie?
I am a Gemini, so there can be two of me, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm always in Frankie's chat as one being or another.
Yeah.
But it's not to leave the money thing. So when people John Levi, commercials come up before his, is he monetized?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Okay, and of course lunch break, he's monetized.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got a whole bunch of commercials. So commercials would happen if you were monetized.
Yeah, you'd be getting more ads, and you'd get them intermittently throughout the
Or if you join their AdSense, you can join their AdSense but not be monetized.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
I
about
will go through
would
some of
they
my
just have-
videos sometimes, and I'll see commercials. So
Yeah, they'll still put them in there.
They'll still
Yeah,
pump
that's
them
what I
in
was
there.
saying. They
Yeah.
put
Yeah,
commercials
YouTube
online
can
if they were popular.
YouTube can and will put commercials on your video even if you're not monetized. So even a small channel like mine, I've had a couple of videos that have gotten really high views compared to some of the sort of the regular amount of views that I get, and YouTube will throw an ads on that for sure,
And
because
who
they're like
gets that money?
the advertisers and YouTube and whoever, everybody who gets to
I'm
wet
sure
their
you-
beak except
sure
me.
you-
If you had
getting a lot of that.
sponsors, what if you had sponsors where you did the commercial in the middle,
No, well, like lunch break does. You mean?
No, he always talks about and he's got so many supporting him now. That thing goes on for days, but
Yeah, everyone skips past that part.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you
He had an
You're right,
ad for a while too.
You're right.
Yeah,
Some
back into
channels
that.
have a sponsor. Where like today's video is brought to you by AdSense or
Yeah, you could do that.
Squarespace or whatever. So those sponsors will pay for that content creator to have a certain amount of time dedicated to basically a commercial for their product or service in the video. And sometimes it's at the beginning, in the middle, sometimes at the end. And I'm not sure who decides that, whether it's the content creator or the sponsor. And then they put all the links below and everything for the sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Frankie. Yeah, I think it's the content creator that's monetized. They can decide in the beginning, middle, or end. And at big clues, if a commercial lasts and you can't go past it for like 30 seconds, then they're monetized.
Yeah, if you can't scroll ahead of it, if you can't skip it right away.
You can't skip it for like after 10 seconds.
Yeah, those are commercials. But I think Stephanie's talking about channels that have a sponsor where that content creator does his own commercial.
Yeah, he does his own commercial.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that's probably because they either can't get monetized or have been demonetized or don't want to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people that want to pay for their content for them, like they want to support their channel. So
and they know that they get eyes
companies
on
out there know that YouTube will not it's not viewer friendly or whatever. So there's companies out there that say, well, that's not fair. Like you can advertise our product on your channel, just film a commercial and put it in your video for our product.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really complicated and weird and dumb, and it shouldn't be, because it's basically it's just freedom of speech, or up here in Canada what we call freedom of expression.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Mark, on that. I don't want to jeopardize my channel or content by monetizing after I've got 275 videos they can scour.
Exactly.
If they could take, that would be horrible. Yeah. So everybody hears that. Make sure you.
If you like what I do here, if you could find a way to help donate, I would surely appreciate it. And I did mention in the very beginning reasons for it. Time is becoming tight. Life is becoming busy. Kids are growing up. Expenses are increasing. So time dedicated toward creating this content is becoming more precious and fewer and far between. So any sort of help that you could provide would loosen that up a little bit and allow me to continue bringing the content that I love to bring to people that are interested. So there's my spiel. I'll show you guys. So I'm working on a third demolished book, demolished buildings of old world North America. Here's the, for those that don't know in the chat, I do have these two books, demolished buildings in North America. All these buildings are gone now. And
I've just put the links for those in the chat as well.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Incredible books. Yep.
Yeah, thanks. It's meant to be a place where where these things can be saved for people.
What's the third one called?
Well, it's probably going to be another 101. I haven't thought about it yet. Two and others. Yet another.
Yeah, or not another.
You'd never believe it. There's more.
I'm going to show you some of what I found so far. So after going through two books and over 200 buildings that are demolished in North America, you think the well would run dry, but it's not the case at all.
Which is so depressing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I need you to do a book on things that are still standing in remarkable places.
I was going to say that because Steph told me not to do a third demolished book. She's like, it's too depressing.
It hurts my heart. It
You
really
could name
is.
it another damn 101, I guess.
Look, we got an old high school in Seattle. All right.
Because that looks like a high school.
All right.
Wow, man.
Meet me out on the balcony at lunch, would you?
That's right. They're all a bunch of lumberjacks out there back then, I'm sure.
Where are we going to put that vending machine? How about on the west balcony?
Oh, I say it's time for my scholastic studies. Man,
Right?
that's impressive.
Yeah. So many high schools I found. So many high schools.
Well,
And they could have
worse
named
is
that
they
a-
tore it down.
Yeah. And they could have named that a Capitol building or a church or a, but no, they decided to go with a high school on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And
Or
they could have
called
called
it a
this,
brewery.
a brewery works too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mansfield, Ohio. Where's this one? St. Paul, Minnesota. They had these, what you might call observatories. You can see the one on this one too back there.
Yeah.
That's interesting
And
to
those were
observe the
clearly
stars.
crap buildings that needed to be torn down.
Oh,
You know what's
well,
crazy is that school has an observatory on it, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the old world buildings that I do boots on the ground and they're calling schools, they had to later on in modern times build an addition as a gymnasium. So they built without a gymnasium, but they're going to put an observatory in there.
Priorities.
What
Priorities.
the hell?
I suspected this part was modified and turned into that possibly, and that there was a tower with a something. I could be wrong.
Probably just a dome with a
With a
cupola
spire
on
on top.
it. Yeah, something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But we'll never know because they had to wreck it.
Yeah.
of course.
Maybe we will know. Maybe there is some sort of comprehensive archive that's been stashed out of our purview, and one day the public will have access to it. One can dream, right?
The thing that blows my mind is that the demolition of even a small building is kind of expensive. So who provided the funding to get these things ripped down? I mean, we joke a bit in Tennessee, if your barn has fallen down, costs too much to tear the thing down. So they just build a new one right beside the crumbled down one. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, my granddaddy's old farm, the old barn was leaning and leaning and leaning. So he just built a new barn. And eventually when the old one fell over, then they took it apart and used it for firewood and stuff.
Yep. That's how they do it here.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Why
But yeah,
why don't
why
you
not?
tear them down? Oh, it costs too much money.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's a
cheaper to just
barn.
build another. Yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I checked out Melted Syracuse channel in the chat here. I think that was your video, Melted Syracuse, of the high school that I saw you walking through illegally. It looked like illegally walking through. No, here it is.
Don't blow the whistle on the guy.
I'm sorry, I just realized we're on air. Sorry.
Get the guy pinched. He didn't do nothing. Come on
It's
now.
being
I got it.
renovated.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Hey,
Let's watch this. This is Melted Syracuse, New York. 89 subs, guys. Get on sub to his channel for sure.
Just
Better-
real quick, Chris, he is the first one that emailed me ever.
Is that
better
right?
to say you're
Yes.
sorry than ask and be told no, I think.
Yeah.
You just
Somebody stole his phone and recorded running through that school. It wasn't him. They took his phone, recorded, and then they gave it back to him because they felt bad afterwards.
That's right. That's good, Frankie. I like what you did there. Yeah.
I added
There
a
it is in the
Canadian spin on it with the guilt at the end.
Let's watch a little bit of his walkthrough, just to show. So they're actually preserving the building and renovating it, which is interesting.
and happy.
You know what? I love how many channels are popping up doing their own boots now. I love it. There's so much, and there's new ones popping up all the time that I'm just made aware of.
I always encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I started doing it, is because Streets of Tartaria encouraged me to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we are also encouraging everyone who may be listening to this to do the same. You don't have to be Martin Scorsese or any of that kind of crap. I'm trying to come up with a really good director.
Scorsese's pretty good.
You just have to really have a phone in your hand. You don't have to do much.
Hell, even just take pictures.
Take pictures. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, just archive it, get it out there, give a chance for people to get their eyes on it as well. It's really important. For sure.
And you don't have to live in a big city. We talked earlier about, these small little towns in the middle of nowhere have these amazing old world buildings. You might not have dozens, might be only a couple of buildings, an old hotel, an old church, an old school or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, get out there and document it.
Although I will say this, Frankie, ironically, the town that I live in, very little to no evidence of anything old world. Tucked away up in northwestern BC, you'd be surprised. Unless you've been up this way, then you wouldn't be surprised. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of boots opportunity up here, so that's why I do the pictures and postcards mostly.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some exceptions. I bet you there's one or two, but the problem is that you get these towns they get the moniker of being a boom town. So a lot of the old stuff is knocked down way faster than some other cities or towns are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the case here in Calgary. They're knocking stuff down like crazy because we've been a boom town since the 1970s, and it's like, well, just leave the old stuff the way it is and build around it, dummies.
Yeah. What do you think of this one? Archaics debunked all the old world narrative, unfortunately. Okay, well, I guess I should probably end my channel then. If that's...
Yeah, oh, thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Archaics. He's such a smart guy. No sense refuting that guy. I love it. I love the debunkers, the people that do the flip flop and the debunk. It makes me laugh. It's like, you traitor. I saw his little expose of Vegas.
Wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, Las Vegas was his reason for debunking everything that we call old world and questioning the timeline. So, whatever.
I guess I'll delete it on the channel. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, time to delete it. Time to go back to Normie Land. I'm going back to Normie Land. I'm going to get as many. I'm going to leave it there. I was going to go down the pandemic rabbit hole, but I won't. Yeah. This is interesting to see the old and the new, and what they're doing with it. Trying to bring it back. I think he goes inside in the basement here too. I'll just scroll. Oh, here we go. There's a little bit on the lower areas. There we go.
Yeah, there's stone under there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rough hewn stone or really old damaged stone.
Or damaged.
Both, probably.
Very interesting.
Well, it's cool to make people aware, even I was in a town and they were refurbishing just a little storefront, but it was clearly in an old world building. And the guys that were working on the place, and I said, I wanted to go in and look at what they were doing because they were in the floor and there was some stuff exposed. And I said, isn't it cool, these old buildings? And only one of the guys showed any interest. And I said, clearly this was not built in whatever year they say it was. And the one guy said, yeah, you should see all the stuff down here. It's like, we don't even know what to deal because they're trying to renovate it, but none of the stuff that they're working on has any bearing on what they're used to doing. It's all weird and different. But I did wake that one guy up to that. I was like, yeah, well, look at that city hall building over there. You think that was really built in whatever year it was? And he's like, no, I thought about that myself. Yeah, that's true. And it was so cool to watch somebody come to the realization that all this stuff was old. Never thought about it before.
Yeah, it's like a light switch goes on, and if you
Yep.
almost hyperventilate, it's almost too much at first.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to take in at first, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of people don't take it in at all, because they're not ready for that plunge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and we've all been there at some point or another in our lives with, whatever new information we're presented with. Because if it goes against, your indoctrination and your brainwashing, then it is a shock to your system.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Bonnie in the chat was asking about calling in. So I did put the StreamYard link in the chat if you want to join the party here. You're welcome to do that. Oh, let me go back to where we were. Here we go. Yeah, interesting. So our Melted Syracuse, New York. Yeah, so give him a sub and check out his boots on the ground work in Syracuse, New York. New York, amazing state. I've covered so many cities on my channel in New York. Really mind-blowing, actually, the amount of architecture there. And of course, part of the narrative is meant to fit that by giving it an element of age that other states don't get because of its geography. But I think what that is just that they had more time to establish the new world in the old world. These are the places where they hit first and they moved westward. So not like part of history is, I think, it's interwoven. Lies and truth are interwoven throughout, right? That's kind of how I look at it. I think some of the timelines may be accurate as far as, okay, well, the new world invading force arrived in this area and at around this time frame and started implementing the new false history in this area, started putting fake dates on buildings, knocking down other buildings, and so on. Sort of how I look at that.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
In New York, even the tiny places are, I mean, it must have been a very densely populated area even back in the day because it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is New York right here. Here's Bonnie. I'm going to bring Bonnie in and we'll say a quick hello. Bonnie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Hey, Bonnie.
Great. Hi. I just wanted to tell you I really love your channel and I recommend it as, if anybody ever wants to learn more about this topic, I always say go straight to this guy because he's got a lot of really good stuff. And I was thinking about you last night because something popped into my head about the Dakota building in New York. It's on 72nd and Central Park West, I believe.
Okay.
And I remember seeing a photograph of it. I'm not really sure when it was built. I think it was 1880s maybe, but in the photograph, it's just all by itself. There's like nothing around it. You can't even really see a road.
Mm-hmm.
This is from, it's a black and white photo and there's just nothing there. That one. Like that. So this is built at the particular time it's built. It's way up from downtown where, supposedly everything got built first.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was weird that they would travel so far up. It's, I don't know how many miles from like the Wall Street area it is, but yeah, this is it's got a basement and it's like,
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, it's got this really elaborate fence around it. It's got like Neptune's face.
Yeah, I can just make it out here in this. I don't know if you guys can see it on yours. I can see it on my screen. You have that protective fence offset from the building a little bit and the windows going down below.
Yeah, they can see. Yeah, we can see it on YouTube. Really good, actually. Yeah.
If you can find the photograph that is even older than that, it looks like it's been, tampered with, like they erased stuff. But see, these huge buildings that are built, like, why would they need to build such a huge building so far away from everything else downtown? That's it just I thought it was weird.
It's an interesting point. No, it's this is making me subscribe. It's an interesting point. I think this is the Majestic Hotel right next to it, the 6 different sort of pillared hotel. I think a lot of these photos obviously have been heavily tampered with, actually, to portray an image that that history expects of it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's my estimation. And you know, people say, well, that's pretty elaborate hoax, and my answer is, yeah, it's a pretty elaborate hoax. I mean,
If it wasn't, it wouldn't be a very good hoax. You know,
that's right. That's right. Let's see if I
it
can
would
get
be more on the level of, hey, son, come over here and pull my finger. You know, this is a little more sophisticated than that.
That's a prank. That's more of a prank than a hoax. Yeah. 1880 to 1884. That's an early time frame as well. German Renaissance style, they call. By this guy, Henry Janeway Hardenberg. I'm gonna look at the architect just for the fun of it, since we're hot on the trail. See if they give us a list of other buildings. There's his building. Ooh, it's a long list. Henry Janeway Hardenberg is responsible for this long list of structures. There's a tower out.
Busy guy.
Windsor Hotel, you know that one, don't you, Frankie? In Montreal, he's responsible.
Oh, of course.
Henry Janeway.
That's a beautiful place. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is sort of how I do a lot of my research. Is I'll follow a thread. I'll look at the Dakota building, and then I'll follow the architect, and I'll see what is readily available. And sometimes I'll dig deeper. Oh my God, he's responsible for the Union Telegraph building as well. Look at this one. Henry Janeway Hardenberg. I think we just found in real time one of these phantom architects that they attribute so much of this amazing architecture to.
They rubber stamp dozens of buildings to this guy. They just attach. It's really tough to. Theoretically, you could find out by going to, archives and statistics and city halls and getting approval to search their database and all that, but they make it so tough to do with jumping through all kinds of hoops and bureaucratic red tape, and a lot of times you got to to pay to have access, and or it's like a year for them to reply to your email or whatever.
That's funny, because he was responsible for the one I just had up before we hopped over to search for the Dakota. Isn't that an interesting sync?
How huge that is. Dang.
Yeah. The Hotel Manhattan. That was the one I had up. Let's see how long it took to build. Let's have a little fun with the narrative, shall we? Built in 1895 to 1896. Wow. You built this in less than 2 years.
And,
of course.
And how many others were being built during that same time period?
Designed by Henry Janeway Hardenberg. Look how many he built. He did 2 in 1893. He did the Waldorf, which would just show the Waldorf Astoria. Amazing. I did a video. One of my first videos, actually, first couple of videos, was on the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which is absolutely ridiculous. He did the Astoria. Oh, so he did both, and then they supposedly blended the two. Oh God, that's hilarious. This guy might be worth a video on its own. I think he is certainly worth a video. The Hotel Martinique. So Bonnie, are you from this area?
I lived in New York for a long time, but no, I'm not from there. I'm from Oklahoma, and I live in a small town, and we've got buildings from the 1890s. I've done a little bit of research to try to find out some stuff, and I do know that there's like this weird tunnel that goes underground between the school admin building and the junior high, but the buildings were built like 40 years apart. So I was going to go to the Historic Society and see if I could find out when the tunnel was built, and if there are any others under, that Main Street area, to see, possibly. I haven't seen any real like kind of mud flood evidence, but supposedly this town was started in 1893 when there was the Cherokee Strip land run, but I think there were people here before, there had to be. So.
Oh, come on. Cowboys built all that. Don't you know that?
Well, one thing, this guy you just found, he's like another H.H. Richardson. He's got way too many things. One other thing I wanted to ask you, if you'd ever looked into the architect that designed the Vancouver Parliament building, because he's got
Oh,
a
Victoria. Yeah, Rattenbury. Yeah, I know.
Right,
exactly
yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Francis Rattenbury. Frankie and I did an episode on that, actually. Go ahead.
He was murdered by his wife's lover or something in England when he was
That's right.
in his
Yep.
60s or whatever. But yeah, I found out about him from a true crime story.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, wait a minute, that's the guy that, and so that he won a contest, and that, you know, it was that whole weird story. So, yeah.
Yeah, but not before designing this thing. Look at that. I've been here. I've been here. This is absolutely ridiculous.
He won the best mustache.
This, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Frankie.
yeah. Look at that. By the way, this is not on the mainland of British Columbia. This is on the island.
On the island. Yeah.
That makes it even crazier.
Yeah, let me show people where it is.
Yeah, it's so much easier to build on islands, isn't it?
Yeah, Frankie and I did a comprehensive examination of Victoria on our knuckleheads on one of our lives. There's Victoria right there. I lived there for 2 years. Yeah, go ahead. And then I walked this camp, or this, whatever you call it. There's the fountain out front. I looked down. There's the little vents down here. I remember I looked down, and I should have filmed it, and I didn't because I was taking in the sights like a tourist. And I could see at least 30 feet down of red brick until it sort of vacated into blackness.
Wow.
At least for 30 feet down from this point. And the waterfront is just in front of this. And it's the water is higher than that is deep right there. So it's kind of strange that way as well.
Were you allowed to go inside and tour?
You could. I didn't at the time. I should have, but other priorities. But I would like to. And I know you can take, of course, carefully guided tours of these places.
But in Canada, we have similar laws as in the U.S. in terms of if it's a public building, like a federal or provincial building, province similar to a state in the U.S., right? So if it's a provincial or a city building or a federal building, it's public land, public property. You can go in there and you can film. And if they call the cops, well, then you can tell the cops that you're allowed to be there and to film or take video or photos or whatever. You don't need a permit or anything like that. Mm-hmm. As long as you're not causing a disturbance or blocking an entrance or whatever, you don't need permission. You don't need press credentials, any of that stuff.
So this is interesting, actually. So what we just looked at the Capitol building is as we're looking at this, to the right of this building, this is kind of a bay, the harbor front, to call it. This is the Empress Hotel right next to it, also Rattenbury's design. And you can see the inner harbor here. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see it's made out of granite blocks all along here, the inner harbor. These granite blocks are got to be 5 to 7 feet long, about 2 feet high, and I don't know how thick they are that way. These are massive granite blocks that have been stacked here on the inner harbor.
Is Victoria the capital of British Columbia?
It is, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we were. I was there on choir tour in like 1990.
Beautiful city, absolutely beautiful city.
Yeah, we stayed with a magistrate. I didn't even know what a magistrate was at the time, but we stayed with one of them.
It's old money, old English money, heavy illuminated influence, if you will, I think. And it's also witchcraft capital of wherever, Canada or whatever it might be. So it's got all those things going for it.
Can you get there by car? Is there like a causeway or something?
Ferry. No, you have to take the ferry.
It's too far for any kind of bridge or causeway.
Mm-hmm.
It's too far from the mainland, the island.
Yeah. So that's Francis Rattenbury, responsible for all sorts of places in this region. There's the Art Gallery in Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh, no, we weren't in Victoria. We were in Vancouver.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Vancouver.
We did it. Did we do Vancouver, Frankie? I don't know if we did, actually. We should probably.
I don't think so. No, we didn't. I don't think. I've done a bits of Vancouver on my live show. I actually talked about the destruction of the sort of the East Hastings neighborhood, the purposeful destruction, much like they did to, the Bronx and Detroit and all these other big American cities. They have been doing that to that part of Vancouver, the city of Vancouver, for decades now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Frankie's
bad because there's tons of beautiful old world buildings there.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Kairos is talking
Sure,
about the canal walls, the actual construction. How did they actually do these things if we try to fit it into the narrative we're given? It's a great point. You know, I have a link to the Erie Canal here as well. I wanted to bring up in this broadcast as well, because one of my first videos, one of my early videos. Let's see if I can find it.
Melted Syracuse says, if you're not supposed to be there, just tell them you're looking for your little dog.
Yeah, they'll help you. They'll help you, right? Yeah. One of my
Here
early
in
videos,
Canada, you just tell them that you're exercising your freedom of expression, which is Section 2B of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's basically, the same as the Constitution, the Freedom of Press Amendment.
they wouldn't disregard the Charter of Rights and Freedoms here in Canada, would they, Frankie?
Oh no, the Mounties love it.
I can't find my Erie Canal video, but anyway, this is an impossible story that breaks the back of the historical narrative as well. They're saying that this was built in how many years here? 1817, completed in 1825. So what is that?
8 years.
8 years to build a canal that's 351 miles long.
Shut up. Oh my God.
The second longest canal in the world, second to the Grand Canal in China, apparently.
Really?
This was 40 feet wide and 4 feet deep. Expanded several times, blah, blah, blah. But impossible task, the Erie Canal, certainly for something that was hardly used at all, is what we're told in history. Right?
All the unnatural or the man-made shoreline is always a puzzlement as well.
Well, canals are crazy anyways, too, because they build all these canals, and sometimes within 2 years of the canal being completed, it's obsolete because we got the railroad now.
Yeah.
And you're like, really?
Yeah. Just when the railroads starting to get going, they get rid of the railroads and bring in the roads for the cars.
Well, that too, yeah.
In a similar fashion, right?
Then they complain that there's not enough public transportation, and we got to build a high-speed rail.
They go backwards. Oh, let's bring the railways back.
We need a railway.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Calgary, they ripped up our old-timey streetcar trolley tram thing. By 1950, it was completely deleted. And then in the late 70s, they're like, we need some kind of light rail transit whipping through the city here, bud. So then they rebuilt the whole bloody thing again, basically. And some of that follows the same streets that the old system used to. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of knuckleheads. Not knuckleheads, just knuckleheads.
Sounds like a make work project.
Yeah, well, it's the city, so, of course it's a make work project.
I'll be right back, guys.
In Tucson, they put in a thing called the modern streetcar, which was really funny. It didn't go very far, but it was this nouveau thing that was actually old. I mean, it was an old idea, but yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, there's a fellow in the chat there. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name if I try to say it, but he says he's from Montreal. Yeah, that's where I was born, actually. First 10 years of my life, I lived in Montreal. And then I moved out here to Calgary, Alberta. But Montreal is a beautiful city. And old Montreal, the old port and all that is just mind-blowing. You walk around there, or you look at, look at photos online of the old buildings in old Montreal, and it's just...
Isn't that where the Chateau Frontenac is?
That's Quebec City, but similar with the narrow streets. It looks like a European city, but it's in Canada land, and actually, Quebec City is even more of a trip because it's an old star city. It's a wall. The old part of the city is a walled city, and it's shaped. It's a star fort or a star city. It's amazing.
Yeah. Did we do Montreal, Frankie? I can't remember. We did Quebec City for sure.
We did Quebec City.
I was gonna say I could go to my spreadsheet and tell you.
So we're back to my demolished file. Buildings that no longer stand. I'm rolling through it just to give people a taste of what I might put in the book. So many though. So many of these hotels in the New York area. These amazing, massive hotels.
Now, as I said, think about what the cost of yanking that thing down. Well, knocking it down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've seen video of them trying to knock down old world buildings with the old wrecking balls, and the wrecking
Yeah.
balls just bounce off of it
Yeah.
for the first like 10 or 12 strikes before it finally starts making a dent in it. And I
Yeah.
just laugh.
Yeah, they have to resort to explosives, I think, on most of those, because
Yeah.
you can't knock them down after all that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
Was it you who did a couple of videos on Port Townsend, Washington?
Mhm.
Yeah, I did do a video on Port Townsend.
I did.
That one is even more than Portland blew my mind because of the way it was built, kind of out on the water at that
Mhm.
time period. That was crazy. And a friend of mine who visited there last summer, I was telling her, "Oh, I just saw a video. I saw a documentary about that town. It's really amazing." And she didn't pick up on it or like say, "What do you mean?" You know, I was wanting to sort of introduce this topic to somebody in real life, and we didn't go there, but that was a really great town to focus on because of the time period, the way it was built, and everything that went into it. It was crazy. So, listen, I've got to hop off of here. I got to go to the store, but it was great talking to you, and I just love your channel. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hopping in.
Yay.
Bonnie. Appreciate it.
You
Anytime.
bet.
Take care.
Nice chatting with you, Bonnie. Take care.
Good to
Yeah,
see you,
Port
Bonnie.
Townsend. It's worth a mention because we were just in the same area, right? And this now we can talk a little bit about Cataclysm here as well, because just take a look at the way that all the islands are sort of. You get the sense that this was all sort of more cohesive than it is now.
Yeah. If you look at it on Google Earth, it definitely looks sus. It's.
Yeah, I know Cairo showed me how to change this to Google Earth, but I don't.
I feel like it was probably that. I don't know.
I got it. See that curve there? See that? See the curvature there?
There it is.
And that's not a cartoon. That's an actual picture.
It's got to be real. There it is, right there on the goggle
Looks
machine.
like Bernie wants to jump in.
There's Katy Perry.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna throw the link in here.
Oh man,
Bernie's gonna jump in here.
That's good. That's good, Mark.
Now you guys get to see my Google Earth lack of skill here. I don't use this very often. Maybe I should more.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love it. So it's cartoony until it comes into where it's close enough that they're actually taking a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is just this is complete BS.
And this is the part of sort of western or northwestern west coast of North America that on old maps it's just blank, but then on older maps it shows the coastline. So you're like, well, wait a second, did they just forget for a couple of 100 years what it looked like?
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I think the bay. Looking for the bay for that the Capitol building. It should be in here somewhere. I should know this. There's the museum. There's there. This is the inner harbor right here, and we were just looking at the Capitol building. That's the Capitol building, and there's that hotel I showed everybody, and here's that granite wall right here.
Yeah, so completely unnatural shoreline.
Yeah. And all of this area is old world buildings. All of the central downtown area, it just jumps out at you, like makes no sense at all.
And that granite wall isn't built into a lake or a river. That's the Pacific Ocean. So,
right.
You know, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just build a temporary barrier back here, drain it.
Hold the ocean back. Yep.
Hold the ocean back for a while.
Yeah. But then how do you build a temporary barrier? Well, you put up another barrier so that you can build your temporary barrier to put up your permanent shoreline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think is Bernie, are you there? Are you gonna hop in, or I know that he asked for the link. So the Crypto Alchemist, or what is it? Bernie, Mind's Eye Science Guy.
Yeah, that's him. It's the same. He has 2 channels.
Yeah, we actually haven't been introduced yet, so it should be good.
Bernie lives in Calgary here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and I have. We went and checked out the old Hart Wrestling family house there. That used to be a hospital, supposedly. It's an old world building. He and I did some boots on the ground there.
Hey, Bernie.
Sure did.
Hey, man.
And here I am finally.
Welcome to the channel. We haven't actually spoken, I don't think, before.
Yeah, just in live chats. Never digitally face to face yet. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Digitally face to face. I like that. Yeah.
And yeah,
Hey.
shout out Frankie Fingers, my fellow Calgarian, Tartarian.
How you doing there, bud?
Very good, my friend. Very good. And yeah, we did go check out that Hart Mansion. It's like a 3-story and then like 2 basement stories old brick building that at one point was the Rocky View community or whatever designation area, Rocky View outside of Calgary's hospital. Before it became a private residency. But when we went and looked it up, that history had been completely scrubbed from the records. And it's like I grew up like within this community of Coach Hill right next to the Hart House and got to know several of the Hart grandchildren from Smith Hart, who is the father of Brett and Owen Hart. And from them, they all told me about how it used to be a hospital, how they believed the building was haunted. I actually had my own personal, what do you call it, experience there, ghost experience, but that's the story for another day. But point of it, that's like this family, well-known established family that had owned this property for like 60 plus years or 50 plus years, knowing its original history and telling me that it was a hospital, to then cut forward to today and it's completely scrubbed from the internet and from anything attached to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, basically real-time altering history.
And it's like, why would they even do that? You know, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. It's a historical building, so it's like it can't be messed with. Like, it's officially recognized, yet they took that original history away from it. It doesn't make sense.
I think sometimes when they don't have the history, and looking into some buildings even here, you go and you get so far along and then all of a sudden there's nothing. There isn't anything. You can't find out anything. It's like nobody knows anything more than this. And it's like somebody didn't finish their assignment. You were supposed to write about that and from the very beginning, you know, and instead they just start talking about some family that lived there or something, but they don't tell you any of the details that you're looking for. It's just not there.
Well, more to Bernie's point too, is when that building, even by the official story of when we're told that building was built, that Hart Mansion, that was outside of the town of Calgary. Wasn't even a city yet. It was outside of the town limits of Calgary. So it was like a country hospital, basically. But it's, if you close your eyes and you picture in your mind's eye a country hospital or a country school or a country church, it's like a wood frame structure, usually kind of modest, right? Because it's just serves, you know, a few farming families, and then miles and miles and miles down the road, there'll be another one. But this thing is opulent and huge, and it's brick and stone, and it's crazy.
Yeah, well said, right? And that so it's famous from like the Hart WWE family living in it, and in the quote unquote dungeon, so the lowest level basement, that the Harts had set up like a wrestling ring, and all the famous wrestlers went there. But from the outside of the building, the driveway going into where the garage goes down a story into like the sub basement or the first level basement. It's like, that wouldn't make sense unless, you know, it's for ambulances pulling out people and going directly in, right? Like just how several newer hospitals are made.
Interesting. So you can't find this building anymore online if you do a search for it? Is it?
For the history of it being the Rocky View District Hospital. No.
Interesting.
They
is it
just
something
inundate
that-
you with Hart family wrestling history to do at the house, which is great. I'm very proud of the fact that the Harts are of wrestling family dynasty, and they're from here in Calgary, and I'm here in Calgary. But if you try to look any further into it, you scantily find anything.
Not at a historical society or something written down?
That's the problem too, is because it wouldn't be in the City of Calgary archives. It would be in the County of Rocky View's archives. I'm guessing, unless those files were transferred once Calgary annexed the land.
That's a good point. I'm gonna have to put some effort and time into actually looking into that further, because.
But then there was also the Great Calgary Fire that destroyed a lot of those records too.
Well, thank God for that.
I know.
Not to steer the conversation. I just clicked on this chat you had recently, Bernie, about the Sage Wall. This is a North American narrative buster in itself, isn't it?
Oh yes, sir. And that's just south of where me and Frankie are in southern Alberta in northern Montana, and there's actually a parallel second wall about 100 meters away from this wall that runs along with it that's not well known. And then I believe like 40 or 50 kilometers from it is an area discovered by Julie Ryder that she's dubbed Giant's Playground as well, that's filled with all sorts of megalithic anomalies.
That's interesting. Of course, it doesn't come up in a search, the Sage Wall. That's interesting.
I got a few photos of it I can load up.
Okay. I do hear something in the background. I don't know who that is.
Walter Bosley there, I think.
Yeah. Oh, no. I heard a sound. Yeah, we're good. This is who you're chatting with, Walter Bosley. So he's doing research on this area. He's been to this area.
Actually, his girlfriend partner, Malia Grimm, is from that area and has done a lot of research on it. And he is fascinated into alternative history, pre-cataclysm civilizations, and puts forward a thesis of a former worldwide and now slips my tip of my tongue.
Civilization?
It's a civilization, but it's from East India. From come to me. Anywho, not the Buddhists. Before the Buddhists, why can I not think of it? But yes, anyways, former civilization that was worldwide, and has found a lot of evidence for it.
Interesting.
Those are huge blocks, man.
Yeah, I can show you some of that area that I've looked at real quick. You're gonna get some.
Yeah,
pictures
absolutely. Please do.
While I do this, so I really like looking at India when I do my investigations into the melt. This area here is absolutely incredible.
Hindu civilization.
I was gonna say it.
I know I thought that too, but I was like, I'm not gonna sound like an idiot.
You don't want to sound wrong. You don't want to get it wrong. Let's see if I can find.
You guys all had it right. Trust your intuition.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, not far from Mumbai. I can get into looking for fort. So here's a fort, Sidigad Fort. Now this is the topography in this region. And these are actually forts. You can see the remnants of some of the blockwork here.
Yeah, look at that crazy stuff.
Built right into. There's better examples even than this, but you see this everywhere, and many of them still have the stone walls.
But what's funny is other parts of the realm that look identical to that, they'll dismiss it or hand wave it away as, oh, that's just a natural occurrence.
Natural bridge, archway.
Yeah, natural bridges, archways. They do that here in Alberta too, in Drumheller and the Badlands.
Mm-hmm. Take a look at this. You can see the blockwork here.
Big time.
And then, like, I've scoured this area. Look at the top portion there.
Right, and they attribute it to their former gods, right, and giants and stuff. They say that built these.
I wonder if we're getting like a native version, and we're getting a British version of events too. This is probably.
Yeah, I would say so, probably.
Look at this, right? Built right into.
That's crazy.
And these things are all over the place in this area. It's pretty amazing. I'd always meant to do a video on this area. There's another one. These people walk along the cliff. There's some block work there. You can see it.
Sure. Yeah, it's plain as day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can scour this area. You'll find tons of these.
I bet you under all that foliage too, under all the grass and shrubbery and stuff, it's just a couple of inches of dirt, and then it's just blocks and stones under it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No question. Look at this.
Just enough for some of that shrubbery to take a foothold and take root, and you know, it fools a lot of people.
Right? Like so many carved into it, into the bedstone, and look at that, like that's megalithic sized block work.
Yeah, that's why I thought of it as you were showing the sage wall there. I'm like this, and you made the link to India. I'm like, well, let's take a look, because I've scoured this area, and it's very similar, very interesting.
And like somebody in the chat said, a geology professor would explain why. Well, that fractured that way, and then the years it weathered from the wind and the
wind and sand. Yeah,
through it and made it soft like that. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting area. Let's see if we can find some more.
Or sometimes they'll do both. They'll say, "Oh, it used to be an inland lake, so all the water eroded all of that." Or in the case of, again, here in Alberta, Drumheller, they give you both. Oh, this canyon used to be a big inland sea. But also so that's what formed some of those formations that you're seeing there, you see? So stop asking questions. And oh, by the way, what also formed some of those formations was wind erosion from the wind blowing all the sand around. So it's like, well, which one is it, water or wind erosion? Well, it's both, buddy.
Both, yeah.
Move along now.
Look at that wall.
And you'll know because they've got a little dinosaur park right next door to it. So
right, with a T-Rex.
Yeah. Got all them dinosaurs. You mean dragons and griffins, right? No, I mean dinosaurs.
Look how lush this place is too. Very green, isn't it? Look at the stone. That's a single stone right there. Look at that. That's a
huge.
Yeah.
I had no problem for a couple of dudes just to hoist it up there.
No, they had elephants. Frankie.
They were big dudes.
That's right. They did have elephants. That's right. Yeah.
So we can't use the horse and buggy narrative here.
No, we use the elephant and buggy.
Elephant and cart.
You've got a stairs waterfall. These are clearly look like stairs.
Right there, that kind of destroys the narrative of water erosion because you're still seeing 90-degree stair blocks.
100%.
Yeah, interesting. Really cool area. Of course, they got cannons, so we know that it was throwing it in another narrative, right? The old war.
Yeah, it was a fort. See, there's the cannon.
Is that a bell? Is that just an elongated bell held by the nub? Possibly.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. Very interesting.
Sorry, I'm just gonna grab my removable hard drive here to grab some pictures.
Oh my God! You know what? I made that joke. There's a dinosaur park right next to this.
And there is.
100%.
Shocker.
That was
there's the T-Rex.
Wow.
Maybe I was going by memory last time, but that was a total joke. And sure enough, dinosaur park right next to it.
Talking about erosion, I wonder Mark, what do you think about actual, like the rounded river rock stones? Is that?
I do think it's 100% not tumbling and stuff what they say, because I mean I live around and live on an actual creek and stuff that has this rounded river rock, they call it, but all around it is jagged rock. Also,
Right. Right.
it's just another version of the cataclysm, transforming, melting, whatever was around buildings or what have you. I can't. I mean, I
know
don't
that
know.
always has
but-
plagued me.
So to add in one supporting aspect of that, yesterday when I was at work and mixing grout, which is like type cement basically, add in water, and as you stir it, it actually clumps, but it clumps into perfect
Little balls.
spiracles,
Yes,
into the
that's-
balls. And I was thinking, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, how much that looks like supposed river rocks.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is
Right.
really interesting.
Hey, Chris, I do have to skedaddle,
Mhm.
and I appreciate it, man. Let me be on here, and Frankie, of course, Stephanie.
Good to see you, Mark. Always good to chat with you, bud.
Yeah, great stream.
Thanks for
And,
joining me, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Till next time.
Bye, Mark.
See y'all.
We love you.
It's dinner time for Mark because he and I are in the same time zone.
You're past, isn't it? It's dinner time for me here.
Well, it's 7 here, yeah, so it's late supper. Did you know Mark and I used to where Mark lives and where I live used to be part of the same territory.
Wait, Mark actually might even be one more. I'm at 8, and he might be one more time zone over, if he's far enough. Because the time zone switches again at Chattanooga.
Oh, so right, because he's in Alabama, so
Yeah,
it's 6
yeah,
for him
so-
there.
No.
No, 8.
8. Yep. But then if he's one more over, it could even be 9. So I can drive an hour and a half east in it, and I lose another hour.
Like,
Time zone's stupid.
Look how many forts are in this area. I mean, these are everywhere. Look at this one. You can see the remnants of the fort on the top. I became obsessed with this area for a little while because of all this stuff.
The fort thing is confusing because, like, how quickly did they get that thrown up? They'd all be dead. I mean, like, or the war took a long time to plan, or it went up. I mean,
I think it's all part of the same structure. We're seeing the tops that remain, but I think there's no way this was natural, and then part of it wasn't. This to me looks like almost pyramidal, not quite, but you know.
To build that for a war, that would have to be a 1,000-year war for them to have time to build that fort.
Yeah, extend the timeline.
Yeah.
You can see the turret right here. You can see the stonework here in the foreground.
Yeah, all those, like, whatever that fort that's out in the middle of the water, like.
Yeah.
So they built that in preparation of the battle that was going to happen there in the water, or.
And why did they build a wall here? What's the point? If you got your back against the mountain anyway, why build a wall here? You don't need to build that.
Oh, they had some extra rocks, eh?
And extra time and
That's called curb appeal, Chris. Come on now.
Yeah. You're right. There's a couple good ones in the water here too, if I can find them quickly. I think up the coast of Mumbai, which used to be Bombay.
Yep.
Which is an unbelievable city, old world architecture city. Here we are on the waterfront.
Wow.
We've got a couple actually in the water as well. I think I'm close. Okay, that's on the waterfront. And close by, maybe it's right here. Maybe not. No. I'm just freestyling here, so it's I'm going by memory. There's another fort here.
I guess they would say the British built a lot of these forts.
No, a lot of these.
A lot of them are older, they say.
Yeah, a lot of them. Some of them have a little plaque just like we do, and that some guy in 14 whatever.
Okay.
Chieftain, warlord.
Because I'm going to say this looks way before the British marched in here.
Yeah, look at the quality of construction on this, and the different aspects of different mediums.
The
right?
size of the blocks, and then it's got like a plaster casing on it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they cover it in schmutz all the time.
Yeah. And then back here you get rubbly type looking rock.
right? The repairs from
Mm.
more recent.
Yes, we're going to renovate it and repair it.
Mm.
Now you're
Maybe.
going to hide the narrative of the 3 or 4 different cataclysms that this thing survived and all the different forms of damage that are all over it. So you're just going to cover it in a layer of schmutz to hide all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we're looking at different stages of after effects of some sort of heat event. That's what when I see some of this stuff. It's mixed medium, right? It's some of them are in strange places. Almost, it looks like it was red brick at one point. If you look at this part here.
Yep.
So it's hard. I mean, it's hard to say. It's all speculation, right? But it's who knows? There's the guy. There's the guy.
Who built it all?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be him. There's a statue of him right there, so you know he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Yeah. Look at the stones on the surface part here,
Mm-hmm.
and then look at this part, and it's just very strange, but also reminiscent of a lot of the buildings we see with the red brick and then the stone around the openings. Like it's almost like after it's received some sort of heat event, if we're going to go with that theory, right around the openings. I don't know if you can see the difference here between.
Yeah, it's a different stone, and it looks charred, or it's discolored. You can see it right there. Yeah,
and misshapen, certainly misshapen as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Interesting area. Where's that? Oh, I already looked at that one.
Is that around the Dodap and Maharashtra area by chance?
I have no idea.
You haven't seen that area. Quite wild. And
Is that
yeah, we're
Maharashtra?
close. Yeah, we're close.
There you go,
Maharashtra.
with your
Yeah.
bad geography.
Nicely
Wow.
done. Nicely done.
Yeah. Show off.
hey, it's only because I've covered this and done a couple episodes on it myself. And that a lot of the so-called, or what today are labeled mountains, but they still acknowledge are part of the forts and what the original gods and demigods built are very megalithic. And at the very tops of them are carved with caves, which really are just massive rooms and tunnels throughout, which it's like that's kind of like our modern day skyscrapers, only built to last. And then on top of that, they're the more recent, what are officially called bastion forts, but everyone in this community knows as star forts, and that even they are exponentially more exquisite, and oftentimes in this area of Maharashtra in India predate the British and the colonial rule, which kind of destroys the narrative that it was the colonial powers and mostly British and French and whatnot building these bastion forts everywhere and Dutch when they were predated.
Yeah,
there's star forts in Japan, and Japan was closed for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
So how did they learn to build star forts that look just like all the other star forts then? It's crazy.
Great point.
It's somewhat famous, the Ellora Caves, these ones, eh? Yeah, right in that same area. Amazing region to explore. This is just sort of how I do a lot of my exploring. It's just scrolling around, zooming in, hoping to find something.
So 2027, this is fundraising for Old World Exploration to put together a trip with myself and Frankie and anyone else that wants to come so that we can go explore this, right?
Yeah, road trip. I would love to.
This would be, India's on another level, man. It's just incredible.
Look at all this thing.
There's pockets of survival all over the place. They still try to hide it and tear it down, but there's so much of it there that's still observable that they can't do it all.
Yeah.
They can't keep up with it, with destroying everything and hiding everything. There's just no way.
It's not possible. There's too much. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they keep uncovering and digging out more and discovering
That's
more.
right too. So that's even tougher to do. Yeah.
Here's one. Another fort. As we move inland, we're still getting all of this. Everywhere. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Everywhere.
Say, bud, I got to dip out of here, man. My stomach's making weird noises. I got to get some food in me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate you being here tonight, Frankie, and my big fundraiser extravaganza.
Oh, thanks for having me. I made a couple of donations there behind the scenes, so
Appreciate it.
try to help you out, you know.
Yeah, man.
Try to help out our buds, you know.
Hey,
We'll get
Frankie,
our-
what do you
Love
do when
Frankie.
you're not making cool videos?
What's that?
What do you do when you're not making cool videos?
Oh, I just work at my local grocery store here in my community, actually.
You're the local grocer?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's
Just-
right.
He's gross. He's gross.
That's actually what I meant, but I just didn't want to say it.
He's a grocer, okay?
Fingers
Just
up.
a
I'm the
grocer.
grocerist.
He's a gross sir. That gross sir over there told me to come on.
Yeah, that
And
sir
he
over
is
there is gross.
Best darn grocer around.
Sorry.
And I also owe tribute to Frankie Fingers for supporting my work and helping fund my laptop that I am running off right now. And
Oh, there you go.
got to
Beauty.
meet
Yeah.
up again very soon, Frank, and got to plan some trips. Well, now the snow is melting to go to Drumheller, and then I believe it'll be. I'll share quickly before you leave while I have it up. Or do I have it?
Of course, now that you've said the snow's melted, you just put the kibosh and jinx the whole thing, and it's going to snow. You know
Right,
that, right?
It's gonna snow tomorrow, but hopefully.
Well,
this
we had
year
snow
can
a
make it-
couple of days ago.
We did, but it melted by morning or in the morning, which was great.
Yes.
So here's Sage Wall, which hopefully this year, but if not, we will at least try to get to this site still in Alberta. This is, sorry, my photos aren't in order, but you can kind of see here, this is Omagh, Alberta. It's known as Canada's Stonehenge. It's been to 4500 BC, so officially at least 6,500 years old, and in giant astrological calendar. These are some pictures from Giant's Playground, but I'm sorry, just quickly try to find what I'm looking for before Frank goes. Oh man, I think I went the wrong way.
Yeah, we
Come
definitely
on.
got to check that place out, Bernie, for sure.
Oh, we can do this one, the Three Sisters in Canmore, looking kind of pyramidal.
Oh.
There's actual legends that on the backside of these mountains, so that would be the south-facing side, away from the Trans-Canada facing valley, that there's actually 3 native warrior princesses carved into them, that a few different people I've spoken to that have claimed to hike up there said they've seen. And I think if the picture will finally show up, which it's not doing. Oh, I guess there's this. So this is Red Rock Coulee, which is just west of Medicine Hat and still part of the Badlands area there.
Yeah, I did a live show about this stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'll be going back to this area, I believe, for the June solstice, summer solstice. If you want to tag along and doing a couple days and also exploring the Medicine Hat Badland Guardians that I am desperately trying to find a picture of, but are not showing up. But yeah.
Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. Yeah, for sure. Definitely do that, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for joining me here tonight, Frankie. I appreciate it. And Knuckleheads Halifax coming soon. Not sure when, but soon, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep your peepers peeled to both channels, and it'll be coming up just after the Easter weekend sometime. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks, Chris.
See you, Frankie.
See you, Bern.
Thanks, Frankie.
Take care. See you later. I don't know what to call you now, Stephanie.
The Babbler. Babylon Babbler.
Call me whatever, just not late for dinner.
All right, that's the deal. See you later, everybody. Take care. Cheers.
Yeah. Is this all generally close to you then, Bernie?
Yeah, so this is a picture from above of Omagh, the supposed Canada's Stonehenge, the giant astrological calendar. And you can see these larger stones and the ring around it. This is, I believe, within 100 kilometers, so 60 miles of both Calgary and Medicine Hat, Alberta, which are in between, which I'll be going to or back to again. Here we have the so-called Okotoks erratic, which is right outside of Calgary, and they claim a glacier moved this, but listen to this. It's quartzite, specific quartzite type of rock, that the closest natural supply, or where they say this originated, not Canmore or Banff for like just a couple hundred or 100 kilometers from Calgary, right? That a glacier magically carried it to. But no, it's from Jasper, Alberta, which somehow this giant 3-story chunk of mountain or rock, or just quartzite. And what's very fascinating, I've got several videos of being here on site and pictures I've taken. It's looks like it's essentially polygonal megalithic blocks throughout it, but that so Jasper, very famous, but it's closer to Edmonton, which I believe it's like essentially 300 some kilometers from Calgary at least, but it's that it's several mountain ranges over. So it's like it somehow had to magically make it over a bunch of mountain ranges and then like cross the plains and then somehow just dropped right in this spot. And then even though it's in 2 pieces.
It sounds to me like you're not buying that story.
None whatsoever.
I don't know. I just detected a little bit of skepticism. It's ridiculous.
It's so impossible. It's just it does not make sense. And here is this one is Mystery Rocks, Saskatchewan, and it's in Cypress Hills Provincial Park. And shout out to Michael Collins, Wandering Wolf, who took this picture with his drone. But it's absolute massive megalithic walks, kind of looks like a wall or structure, has the holes in them that definitely not erosion, but many archaeologists modernly accepted that they're drilled by indigenous for some purpose, so they claim, but that they're artificial stone workings, not.
You know what strikes me about that, Bernie, is the different rows at different thicknesses. How you
I just noticed that too, right? Like a thick square, then you have these thin rectangular, then a thick square, and then back alternating, right?
Yeah, it jumps out at you for sure. Crazy. This is in Saskatchewan?
Yes, just on the Alberta-Saskatchewan border.
Interesting.
And then here again is Sage Wall, these giants playgrounds right close to Sage Wall, so all in Montana. Mount Maya, I believe she calls this one. Kind of see what looks like a face or something. But that also kind of looking like a face if you turn it 90 degrees. It's fascinating how many that do. But in this giant's playground area, oh man, I gotta get these pictures in order. My apologies.
No worries.
Right. So, this was the picture I was trying to find while Frankie was still here. This is the Medicine Hat Badlands Guardian, the main one. That this is an oil derrick right here. This is an access road. and it's about 350 meters from, I believe, just across his face or the height of his face. And then a supposed Olmec face right here, what looks like a potential another face right here, another one right here. And I've since found an additional 12 different warrior and mask style faces throughout this valley using Google Earth. And when I went down there and visited this site myself 2 years ago, what I documented and found is that every single hillside from top to bottom is covered in parallel terraces about 1.5 meters in height, which just it's
The oil derrick, that looks like an earring. The oil derrick looks like it's in the right spot to be an earring, almost.
Right, yeah. So about, I guess, 8 or 10 years ago now, when this image first got famous and trended, it was tagged as the iPod Indian or something like that. The
sure.
earpiece.
Yeah, interesting.
And here we go. Now I can actually show some of my original photos of the site of what I'm actually talking about.
Do you use CalTopo? Kairos is asking, does CalTopo cover that region? I wouldn't know.
CalTopo?
Yeah. That's Kairos introduced me to that on one of the maps. Of course, I forgot how to do it because I need another lesson, Kairos, on how to work that.
I also.
It's like a topography option when you're scrolling CalTopo.
Really?
Yeah.
I definitely need a lesson on that.
Kairos is going to have to give us a lesson, I think. I'll get it back.
Share screen again here.
Yep.
So this, you can see these parallel lines going down the hill. And this is one of the photos I took from the face of that Badland Guardian. Again, terrace, 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 all the way up. Again on that side. Again, clearly demonstrated on this one.
That's crazy.
And this is an opposing hill on that same valley, again all the way up. And even as it goes in the different inclines and cuts and uneven parts, there's these parallel terraces. This is another hill from there as well. Again, you can see these parallel terraces and that they're all the way through.
It almost reminds me of the way 3D printing works.
Yeah.
You know,
what is this close to? Is it close to anything? What?
It's just about, I believe, 30 kilometers, so 15 miles outside of Medicine Hat, Alberta. So it's just off the Crow's Nest Pass, Highway 3 of southern Alberta. And this is on the northeast side of Medicine Hat. Again, an additional hill showing these parallel terraces. And sadly, it's kind of hazy because there was massive forest fires and smoke when I was visiting at that time. Again, that's why this one's so hazy.
About how big are those terraces?
About 1.5 meters, but separating each one. So I'm actually.
Wow. That's big.
Wow, look at those, eh?
Yeah, sorry, I'll go back to those. I'm just trying. Wrong way. Trying to find specific photo. Hopefully, didn't give anyone a seizure there. Okay, so I should be in one of these.
Oh.
How tall are they? Somebody's asking. How tall?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to find for reference. Oh, here we go. For scale. There we go. This picture taken from a mom. There's Bernie. So I make up about 2 terraces, and you can see the scale of myself at 6 feet tall compared to the terraces themselves.
And what's the story? What do they attribute these to?
So I talked to the owner of one of the, or a couple of the faces in this valley. His family's been ranching this land for generations. He said he was well aware and kind of like triggered and seems annoyed by the fact that there are these massive faces and geoglyphs, and is in denial of its existence. And I guess like often gets harassed by random people about it, so you can understand why he gets annoyed. But when I pointed out and asked, I was like, hey, did you construct those level terraces, or did your family have anything to do with it? And his face kind of dropped a little bit, because it was like for the first time he realized, like, oh my god, this stuff actually might be constructed, and was like, no, my family never did any of that. And right, so it's like you can literally see these parallel terraces covering every single portion of every single angle of the different faces. Oh, there we go. There's Bernie again.
And remarkably, he never thought about it.
No, right? Well, I guess it's like when you look, if you've been born there, lived there your entire life, it's like you just don't even notice it or would associate it or just think it's normal. And then when I actually ask and point it out, and then he realizes, you know, the next time he drives into Medicine Hat or whatever, and the 500 other hills that he has to drive through, none of them have these parallel terraces like his valley that has all of these giant faces. Right now, all of a sudden, it's like, wow, this is actually a thing. And here you can see like the animal path track going up. And it's like, these are not, there's not a million deer walking across back and forth making those either, right? It's like that. These are terraforming and artificially constructed structures with these surviving ancient terraces covering every single portion of it. Sorry, really got to organize my photos. And then here are pictures I took from going up, and then that's the road that the vantage point that my mom had taken those previous photos from.
If we have a comment here, I noticed these terraces through the interior of BC comes. I have seen them as well.
Yes, there's a few of them, and I recommend everyone that when you notice those in the areas to both go from Google Earth and take a look above to see if they are geoglyphs as well as potential pyramids. And that I've noticed these terraces in one other area, or sorry, 2 other areas of southern Alberta now, one being right by the head smashed in Buffalo Jump site, which I now also believe to be an ancient megalithic pyramid complex, as well as another site on I think it's 93 highway. It's known as the Cowboy Trail. It runs parallel to the 3, but anyways, yeah, what's
got
appeared
an
to be
idea what those round things are?
Yeah, so this is the next thing. So the terraces that I was just showing there, that's on the northeast side of Medicine Hat, Alberta. And then these are on the southwest side of Medicine Hat, Alberta, in what's called Red Rock Coulee Provincial Park, and giant balls. And some of them the size of like small cars. Quite wild. And then what also kind of appears to be mounds or potential buried pyramidal structures also in the same area with these giant red spherical balls. And what I find very suspicious is that normally, rocks, big rocks, especially boulders, they get buried, yet these are all like almost floating on top of the soil and substrate, not being affected by the new soil or something.
Very interesting. Very interesting stuff.
It's amazing
And then this
that people aren't curious about it.
Wow. Look at that.
So this is also close by to the same area. This is Writing on Stone Park, a UNESCO site, and I call it the Cappadocia of Canada, and that it truly resembles Cappadocia, Turkey, where it's recognized that there's underground cities and all of these what I deeming former structures and ruins actually still have tunnels and chambers and are lived in, and in Turkey have been lived in for thousands of years up to the modern day. And for scale, there's a person, absolutely huge, and that these are recognized as having all sorts of tunnels. They look pretty identical to Cappadocia, and lots of what looks like megalithic sandstone blockwork, but that has been scorched or had that some sort of catastrophic melting exposure and event that happened to it. Yet, so it's like, were these rooms? Has it been weathered through
Where are we here?
thousands of years? So this is right on the U.S.-Canada border of what is the river called? It'll come to me. Anyways, it's right on Montana-Alberta border, and you can see like these look very, very megalithic blockwork style. Looks scorched. Milk River, there we go. It's the Milk River here, and it goes on for.
That's the 90-degree right there. Almost
yeah,
exactly.
like look at that. Like that looks like a building potentially. Is that like Eagle?
Yeah, reminds me of Armenia, like you said, Cappadocia in that area. Definitely similar.
Right, and like everywhere. And look at the block like that looks like it's been melted and then severely weathered and eroded after the fact, right? We're not saying that there isn't natural wind and water erosion, just that it's probably been for tens of thousands of years after some sort of original catastrophic event.
Very interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Right, and then what looks like very scorched, and it's sandstone underneath this. You can see the parallel lines throughout. Try to claim birds made these holes or water, yet clearly not water, and no birds live in the holes whatsoever. They claim it's swallows, and I'll show here in a moment some pictures. The swallows, they make nests out of mud and sticks on the outside of the stone, never burrowing into the inside of it. And of course, what appears to be faces.
This is all in the same area, Milk River area?
Yeah, this is all Writing on Stone Park. And why it's called Writing on Stone Park is because there's hundreds, if not thousands, of petroglyphs throughout the area here, the valley, and being dated from hundreds of years to thousands, with the oldest being even, I believe, over 10,000 years old, thus showing inhabitants of potentially up to and before the Younger Dryas catastrophe event. Like, very interesting, suspect.
Very, very much so. Milk River area, eh? And so is that the east or west of that borderline? I'm just curious.
The Milk River is the border.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Right. Interesting. Between Montana and Alberta?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
There's couple. So this right here, often called a cart rut, but definitely not a cart rut in that area, but showing the very similar same architecture, engineering, and that these were agricultural water chutes and engineering. Why I'm going back to this site, and that it will be the summer solstice that I am specifically at the Milk River writing on stone here, is to catch any alignments with the solstice and astrological alignments in the holes and the standing what are called fairy chimneys, or some look like monoliths, and that if they are aligned to the summer solstice, most undeniably that it is engineered and not natural. Is that like an altar right there potentially? Very pyramidal looking structures.
Interesting. I think you should come on and we should do a show on a lot of this stuff when you get a chance to get back out there. And
absolutely.
I think I'm.
Oh, here we go.
Go
this kind of looking brick-like, but definitely like a wall of a former building.
Crazy place.
There's the swallows building their nests on the outside, never burrowing into the sandstone. Thus, a bunk claim to claim all those holes all throughout here, made by the birds. Potential face there.
A lot of 90 degrees in there too.
And then, sorry, this was the one I wanted to show. Extremely pyramidal looking structure there with parallel blocks, and then possible solar alignment with that. And pyramidal style. Cool. Very Cappadocia-like.
Yeah, I like it. I didn't know that was down there, actually. Interesting.
So here's one of the main petroglyphs, a very small one, but just that anybody can walk up to and still see. It looks like some's been scrubbed out for some reason, like what was actually there. And then even more so, like that looks like undeniable sandstone blockwork.
Yeah, this is not, I thought you jumped to Egypt for a second.
Right? Like this is that site.
Wow. Wow. Incredible. Well, thanks for bringing us that. Like I said, you got to come on the channel and do a little comprehensive expose of that area. I would appreciate that. We're long overdue, I think, anyway, Bernie, to have a conversation.
Absolutely, my friend, 100%.
Yeah. So maybe as the summer goes on, we'll keep in touch and set something up. That'd be fun. I think I'm going to wrap it up.
Everyone donate to this man so he can do more work on this channel and continue the research, and we can do a follow-up stream so he's not fully tied up having to work, supporting his family, because it's crazy.
Appreciate that. It is. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to bring content to people. You have to get good at it, even though you're not getting any reward for getting good at it financially. So it has to be a labor of love. It's really the only way that that you can keep doing what you're doing with this type of work, right? You're choosing an unconventional topic, generally speaking, population-wise, an unpopular topic. So
it's paradigm shifting, right? It breaks a lot of people's entrenched reality. The Mark Twain quote of "It's easier to lie to someone than to convince them they've been lied to."
Exactly. All right,
And
I'm going to wrap it up.
Sorry, if I can have 2 last minutes to give you one last journey bonus.
Go ahead. Yeah, no worries.
If you want to bring up share here. So this is on Mount Yamnuska. It's like the first mountain on the Rocky Mountains when you're entering, going west from Calgary in towards Canmore and Banff. And what appears to be, it kind of looks like a reptile face, blocks, and then a massive cave going in. And it was my dog that ran off and found this. And there's even like 2 eyes in it and what like appear to be teeth, and every single thing is like blocks upon blocks. And when we went up there,
found the wizard.
Yeah, it's like the cave that's behind it is actually like it's full mouth open, eyes, like nose, kind of arms, and that it opens up behind it into a massive cave structure that, well, when my dog ran up, it like trying to poke his head in towards, took a smell and then like yipped and ran off. And he's like 130-pound bull mastiff. So like also got the heebie-jeebies, didn't look inside. And then behind Mount Yamnuska here, this is what I call the 2 guardians there. And that these guys are probably a couple 100 feet tall at least, and if not more. And then these probably 50 to 100, and what even looks like heads and faces carved into them. But behind, you've got this carved into the cliffside mountain, full-on path and stairs that go up to a cave entrance right there behind them. And on the opposite side, so going towards this side here, there's also an additional carved path going into something there. So is it an under mountain system? I suspect, but we're going to try to explore that this summer too.
Is that by Kananaskis?
Yes, sir. That's right at the entrance of Kananaskis. It's right outside of Morley.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to your future explorations and then chatting with you again. Thanks for popping in, and thanks for supporting the fundraiser, Bernie. All right. Take care.
Had to feed the dogs.
What the hell's going on in the background there? Jeez.
Sorry, I had to feed the dogs. I muted, but I thought it was so funny his dog exposed that. It was reminding me of Toto. Toto runs behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was getting restless with my animals start like swarming in the.
Yeah, I can hear my kids getting restless upstairs too. They want me to come back up there probably.
Yeah.
And see how it went. But thanks for sticking around the whole show. And it was fun, eh? Lots of interesting stuff coming out.
Lots of interesting stuff, and I subscribe to those other people, and
I kind of like the format too. I want more people to come in like that and present what they have. It's kind of what I want to do. So next time I get to do one of these. And
all right. Well, at some point I'm going to tell you my great idea. I think it's a really good idea. You had like Bonnie in there tonight. I think you should put out a call for people to I don't know if you want to call it small town boots on the ground, or your town boots on the ground or something, but you need to get the people involved and do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then get their footage on here in one spot.
Exactly. Have everybody send you their photos and videos and whatever, and talk about where they're from, and you get that audience involvement. And I think it would be really great.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'll put out a call on the channel. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight and watching the recorded version, of course, and anyone that has donated to the channel. I really appreciate it, and it will go to a good place, believe me. Yeah, keep an eye out for Friday's video. It's going to be on Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I'll keep making my Fridays. I don't know when my next live will be, but until next time, thank you everyone for being here and for all your support. Thanks, Steph, for sticking around.
Good night. Okay,
Good night.
bye.
Bye. This has been an old world exploration. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and comment. I believe we are in the process of remembering who we really are and casting off the shackles of illusion. Until next time.